In this age of technology, only a few persons have an idea of how to read the minds of people. We are so dependent on electronic gadgets and phones that the bulk of our natural communication skills have been lost. There has been an undeniable decline in this crucial aspect of life with the tremendous advancement in technology. Going straight into the implications and ethical issues of reading other people's minds can be easily overlooked on the brief ground that it is not a progressive idea. This is also in a way true due to the highly competitive and ruthless situation that prevails in all fields. The fact is that reading the minds of people entails a lot of benefits, but for the results to be near perfect, the methods must be regularly learned. Reading minds is no easy feat, as you will soon learn. The human mind is very complex, and many times, even the very owners of the said minds have trouble understanding themselves. One of humanity's greatest mysteries is to uncover the truth of how to read the minds of people. If you could read the thoughts of people, you could know exactly what is someone else talking about. Your ability to read the actions and signs you are being sent by the other person determines the strength of your mind-reading tricks and strategies. Here you will learn the hidden ways of interpreting the thoughts of people through the language of the body. You have powerful intelligence if you know what a person is thinking, which can help you lead communication in your favor. If you can determine what they are thinking, you can determine what they have thought in the past, and very probably what they will think in the future. A superpower at its best. Body language is a major aspect of modern communications and relationships. From our own facial expressions to the movements made by our body, things not said can still convey loads of information. Experts say that body language may make up about 60 to 65% of all communications. Our bodies cannot show anything but what is in us. Our emotions use this sounding board. Therefore, we understand that our body's non-verbal part of communication always reflects our mental state, whatever the situation. Indeed, where does it come from, if not from our psyche? Body language is subject to physical laws. Energy does not vanish, it transforms. As electricity becomes light, heat, or movement, our psyche becomes body language. Beware, the same gesture may have different meanings. For example, a person with arms crossed has a gesture generally interpreted as a negative signal. Indeed, arms crossed would generally mean refusal, withdrawal, skepticism, antipathy, and so on. Sometimes this interpretation is accurate, but not always. What about a bored man waiting for the bus? Is he rejecting someone? If so, whom? Rejecting the bus? Rejecting other people that are with him at the bus stop? What if there is nobody else at the bus stop? In this case, arms crossed perhaps indicate that the man has nothing else to do but wait. With no reason to move, our man folds his arms. To correctly decipher body language, you must first consider the context of the action. Also, as with verbal language, any expression that does not fit into a situation may have a high potential for misunderstanding. Incorrect posture can reveal insecurity, fear, distrust, etc. On the other hand, the right posture gives the impression of strength, power, and confidence. Understand more about using body signals to convey the desired impression. Learning and understanding body language is important, but it is important that you also take into consideration other clues like context and circumstances. In most cases, you should try looking at the signals as a whole, rather than focusing on just a single action. Understanding how body language works involves learning how to interpret different consistent signals to support or indicate a specific conclusion. Body language is such a powerful concept. We have learned that body language is more than just a brief description. It encompasses where the body is in relation to other bodies. This is known as personal space. Body language is made up of different body movements, like eye movements and facial expressions. Additionally, body language also covers everything that we communicate using our body, aside from the spoken words, thus encompassing our breathing, blood pressure, pulse, blushing, perspiration, etc. So body language can be defined as the unconscious and conscious transmission and interpretation of our feelings, our moods, and attitudes through the following: posture, movement, position, physical state, and relationship to other bodies or objects, facial expressions, and even the simplest eye movements. The way you act and the way your body moves can provide clues about who you really are. Without the use of words, we communicate non-verbally via our body language, whether we are aware of it or not. The way you move, sit, stand, and walk may be able to help you understand who you really are. Each one of us expresses our body language in one of four ways. 1. Light and bouncy movements. 2. Soft and fluid movements. 3. Precise and bold movements. 4. Dynamic and determined movements. Each of these movements has its own meaning and may coincide with one of the four types of energy. Energy profiling is a profiling system that is based on movement. Everything in your natural world has a corresponding dominant energy type. The two most powerful assessment tools used to discover your energy type are your body language and your facial features. To help you further understand, this chapter teaches you what the four types of body language are. You sashay, with a buoyant and bouncy spring in your steps. You sit and stand with many different movements, and you shift your position quite often. You may come off as restless to other people because you don't like being confined to an office desk and sitting and standing still for long periods. You are often seen sitting with your legs crisscrossed or comfortably flat on the floor. You have a graceful walk that is soft and classy. You are likely to take longer steps while keeping your feet close to the ground. There is an obvious absence of bouncing while walking. Instead, your movements are fluid and flowing naturally. You sit and you stand in the shape of an S, or you relax holding your head on the side. You walk confidently and full of determination. Your steps are quick and brisk. People can hear you coming. They can even hear you sit because your movements are quite deliberate. You create different angles when you sit and stand. Your legs are often crossed, with one leg pulled up under you. Your head is usually cocked to the side while your hands are on your waist. You may also have your body bent at the waist. Your walk is stately and upright. Your limbs and body have little movements while you walk. You sit upright too, with a straight posture, with your feet firmly on the ground and your hands either folded or hanging to your sides. You project a proper and formal look when you sit and stand. Runway models are the dominant Type 4 energy. They are naturally poised, erect, upright, and structured in their movements. They maintain a perfect posture with their back and shoulders straight up.
Imagine you are in a store and you need help finding a product. You look around you and see 4 different employees. One employee is a teenage boy. He is staring at his phone. This makes you believe he is not interested in his job or that he does not take his work seriously. Because of this, he might not be the right person to help you. The next employee that you see is wearing a button-down collared shirt with a tie. He is wearing dress pants and shiny black shoes as well. He is pacing up and down an aisle while talking into a headphone. He seems busy and like he may be the store manager, so he might not be the person to ask either. The third employee is a man about to head to the back. He might be taking off his work vest and talking about how hungry he is. Since he is heading to a break, he is probably not going to help you right now either. Next, you see a woman standing near a shelf straightening the products. She is focused on what she is doing and gives a friendly smile to the customers who walk by her. You decide that she will be the person to help you find what you are looking for. In this situation, whether you are aware of it or not, You were reading the people around you. You were looking to find the person who would be able to best assist you based on what they looked like, what activities they were involved in, and the emotions they were showing. Based on these judgments, you narrowed down your options and chose the best employee for the job. With this example, it is easy to see that reading people is actually something that we do every day. Speed reading people is similar to this. It's just a specific way to read people. It's purposeful, quick, and efficient. It helps you read the people around you in a way that improves your life and helps you get the things you need in just about any situation. Speed reading involves many aspects. It can be practiced if you only know one or two of these pieces, but the more you know, the more effective your readings will be. Some of the things that speed reading is based on are how a person looks and dresses, emotional intelligence, personality types, character, body language, employment, and social status. It is also important to note that reading people is both a conscious and a subconscious act. There are times that we judge people without trying to and without even realizing what we are doing. This is human nature and is simply how we are wired to behave. Conscious reading includes the ways that you can learn to read people better. These acts are focused and purposeful. They do not replace our subconscious judgments, as those are always in the back of our minds. They can, however, add tremendously to our ability to read people. So, now that we have a basic understanding of what speed reading is, why should you learn how to do it? Basically, I believe that you should learn to speed read the people around you because it will benefit your life in many areas. Speed reading can help you get along with your coworkers, understand your bosses, and train new employees well. Speed reading people can help you in all relationships from familial to romantic. It can help you talk to strangers. It can keep you safe in dangerous situations. It can basically help you get what you want from most of the people that you surround yourself with. Speed reading takes an ability that you are born with and multiplies it so that it can be an extremely beneficial tool in your life. It makes sense of the subconscious readings you do of people around you. It helps you to better understand not only the people closest to you and the random strangers in your life, but also more and more of yourself. There are situations when speed reading can help you in your life that are like the example we used from the store, and there are times when it can help you in much larger ways as well. Speed reading can help you get the job of your dreams. It can even help you meet the love of your life. Overall, it is a skill that can help you in every area of your life that involves others. It adds to your subconscious ability to read people. It helps you to get the things you need from the relationships in your life. The more you learn about speed reading, the more it can add to your life in positive ways. One of the main things that you judge people for is their personality. The personality of friends and coworkers allows you to decide if you have enough similarities to get along. The personality of strangers is one of the first things you notice when you talk to them, as well as one of the most memorable things about them. Let's start by looking into what personality is. Personality is defined as the mixture of traits that makes a person who they are. It is something unique. No two people on Earth have the same exact personality. It is something that people are aware of. It can be shaped by life experiences, likes and dislikes, and wants and needs. It can be formed by who the person wants to be as well. It can change daily if the person wants it to. But now you may ask how this is different from character? Character is who a person is at the core. It is often shaped by the life that the person has lived. It includes their morals and beliefs. It is the thing that shows when a person is going through a challenge. Character and personality are two different aspects of the person. Understanding this can help us to better read those around us. Why? Because once you understand the difference between the two, you'll be able to spot both a person's personality and their character. This will help you in your speed reading quest. These differences come from a source called the 100 Steps Mission. This site is run by Natalie Hall. On her site, Hall speaks not only about finances and how to take charge of your financial future, but also about inspirational leadership, how to use your knowledge about others, and how you can benefit from being around them. It is also a resource for leadership development, which I already know it is greatly improved with the ability to read those around you. Personality is based on techniques. It is based on the ways in which persons live, how they talk, and how they act. It's based on how they joke and laugh as well as how they behave in front of a crowd of strangers versus with a close friend. Character, on the other hand, is based on principles. It is the reason why a person behaves the way that they do. If a person's personality is kind, for example, it might be because of the beliefs that their character holds. It involves a person's morals, values, and principles. Appear to be versus actually be. Personality is based on appear to be. This means that personality can be seen through a judgment. It can also be based on how persons portray themselves and not how they actually feel. For example, persons can portray themselves as outgoing individuals. They can speak loudly, talk to everyone around them, and display a level of confidence that is hard to match for people around them. Deep down, however, they could be very harsh on themselves and have low self-esteem. They could wish they were staying at home rather than spending time surrounded by people. Personality shows what a person lets us see. It might not always show the truth behind who the person actually is. Character is based on actually be. A person's character is who they really are. It includes the things they feel deep down in their soul. It is not something that people can change purposefully throughout their lives. It can only change if a person goes through an event that truly shapes who they are. If you see a person's character, you see the person that they truly are. It's something that you can always trust and believe in. We have already seen why personality and character are so different, but these details really add a depth to the differences between the two. For starters, personality revolves around an image that a person creates for themselves. It is how a person wants to be seen by the people around them, and it is self-created. It revolves around how a person acts when they are around others. It shows if a person is friendly and talkative or submissive and shy. It includes how a person talks and laughs, what they talk about, and even how they move around in public. It even involves how the person manages both the people around them and the things that they see on a daily basis. Are they strong leaders with a belief that they are at a higher standard than those around them, or do they consider their employees as equals? Do they avoid challenges, or do they jump right in? Do they complain, or they stay positive? Character shows just about the opposite of all these descriptions. It revolves not around an image that a person creates for themselves, but around integrity and who a person truly is. Character can show us a lot about a person and their moral code, even if they barely speak a word to us. Character is more about whether we will help those around us, even if there is no benefit to us, if we speak out against injustice, and whether we would have courage in tough situations. It is important to note that personality might be the first thing you notice about a person, but it is usually not the most important thing that you should be looking for. You can tell a certain amount about a person through their personality, but if you really want to read them well, you will need to look into their character. When reading people for their personality and character, you will likely see their personality showing through on everyday tasks. It is important to know that this may be the person they want you to see and not the person they really are. You will typically see the character when a person is being challenged. If they see something they do not believe is right, their character might show through. It also might show through if they are going through a tough time in their life. If you see a person's character, you should believe what you see. It is who they truly are. If you are lucky enough to see a person's character, use it. It will help you to read them well. Now that we know what exactly personality is, let's look into how it comes to be. Personality is a complex part of who we are, and it is made up of many different factors. Without our personality, we would all be a blank slate. Our personality tells us, and others, more about us. First, let's look at one of the places where our personality could have started, in our genes. This information is based on Daniel Nettles' article, The Science Behind Personality. Scientists have done many studies and recently found that certain personality traits, like being an introvert or an extrovert, could be genetic. They believe that this trait is genetic because of a specific gene that codes the dopamine in our brains. This gene decides how long the sequence of this neurotransmitter is, and the length of the sequence affects whether a person becomes an introvert or an extrovert. Scientists also believe that parts of the personality come from the theory of evolution. They believe this because many animals have unique personalities. It is not just for humans. It also adds to why the theory of natural selection makes sense, because personality makes every living being unique from one another. Psychologists today state that our personality comes from 3 basic needs that we all have as humans. In her article, From Needs to Goals and Representations, Foundations for a Unified Theory of Motivation, Personality and Development, psychologist Carol Dweck asserts that these 3 basic needs consist of our need to protect the world we live in, our need to act competently on this world, and our need to be accepted by people around us. Dweck also states that as we reach these 3 basic needs, we start to form feelings and opinions about the world we live in. These feelings are based on beliefs, emotion, and action tendencies, beats. We are all made up of these 3 basic needs and the beliefs, action tendencies, and emotions that go along with them. When we really start to form our own personalities and stand out from the people around us, is when we start to make conscious and subconscious goals based on the 3 needs and the beats. Let's look into some examples of this. If we feel deeply about our need to protect the world we live in by protecting the Earth itself, we will begin to pursue environmental goals. We might pick up trash from the ground every time we see it outside. Every time we eat, we would use reusable or compostable plates, cups, and utensils. We might even advocate to our friends and acquaintances to do these things every chance we see them. This belief and the resulting actions become part of our personality. Next, let's say we feel strongly about the third of the 3 basic needs, the need to feel accepted by the people around us. Because of this, we make it our goal to make friends with every person in our workplace. To do this, we smile often. We might try to talk to people every chance we get. We might even talk loudly or laugh often for people to notice us better and have a better chance of becoming our friends. These actions create a personality trait in us that is friendly and outgoing. We have looked into the scientific explanations for where our personality comes from. Next, let's look into the things in our daily life that help shape our personality as well. The things you participate in throughout your life can affect the person you turn out to be as well. For example, your personality might change after you graduate from college simply because you have gained so much knowledge and created new goals for yourself. It might even change after you graduate from an added boost of self-esteem. Your personality might also change based on the people whom you spend most of your time. If you see some people every day and like who they are, you might begin to act more like them. You could do this consciously or subconsciously, but either way, it could affect the person you portray yourself as. That is why you will hear parents worry about the influence that their children's friends have on them. Their company can really change the child's personality if they hang around a strong enough influence. Personalities can even shift based on what situations you are in at the time. If you are at work, you might act more reserved and professional. If you are at home, you might act more laid back and relaxed. If you are out with friends, you might act more comical and outgoing. Overall, it is clear that our personalities are shaped by many different occurrences. They are first shaped by our genetic makeup. They are then shaped by our psychological needs as well as the beliefs and actions that come from these needs. Lastly, they are shaped by the lives we live and the people we strive to be. Personalities are complex and ever-changing. When we learn more about our personalities, we can learn so much more about ourselves.
Now that we've defined what personality is and where it comes from, let's explore how understanding key traits can speed up your ability to read people. With a clear grasp of a few foundational patterns, you'll recognize behaviors faster, communicate more effectively, and reduce guesswork in everyday interactions. Many widely used personality frameworks sort people across 4 paired preferences, producing a simple 4-letter profile. Despite the memes and quizzes, this structure remains helpful in professional and personal contexts because it offers a shared language for how we focus energy, process information, make decisions, and organize our lives. First, introversion and extroversion. Think of this as your energy direction and how you recharge. Introverts tend to refuel in quieter spaces and smaller circles. Extroverts often gain energy from social interaction, variety, and external stimulation. Neither is better. Each simply shapes how we show up and what drains or restores us. Common signs of an introvert include calm speaking, comfort away from the spotlight, and depth over breadth in conversation. They may prefer a few close friends, stay longer on a single topic, and often feel restored by solo time. Extroverts typically appear enthusiastic, speak more, and change topics quickly. They're comfortable at the center of attention, build broad networks, and often feel energized by lively, fast-paced environments. Next, we'll look at how people take in information, sensing versus intuition. In brief, sensors lean toward concrete, observable details, while intuitives look for patterns and possibilities. We'll start with practical ways to spot these differences. Gap 0.8. Let's round out introversion and extroversion with what people often miss: context and recovery. Energy style isn't a mood or a fixed social skill, it's a fuel tank. An introvert can host a great meeting and still need a quiet reset afterward. An extrovert can enjoy solitude and still crave a quick check-in to feel charged again. After a team off-site, the introvert slips into headphones, takes a slow solo walk. The extrovert lingers in the hallway, debriefing aloud with whoever's around. Another cue, thinking route. Introverts often think, then speak. Their pauses mean processing. Extroverts often speak to think. If you're unsure, ask, "Want time to think?" or "Want to brainstorm out loud?" With introverts, send agendas early. Allow written input, leave space in meetings. With extroverts, schedule short touch points, invite real-time feedback, summarize decisions aloud. Introverts under stress can retreat too far and look disengaged. A gentle nudge, "I value your take." Would a note by day's end work? Extroverts under stress can overdial, filling silence to relieve tension. Offer structure. Let's capture 3 options in 2 minutes. Shy is not the same as introverted. Shy is fear of judgment. Loud is not the same as extroverted. Volume can be culture or habit. Use energy, not volume, as your compass. Introverts thrive with control over stimulus. A door they can close, noise they can tune. Extroverts thrive with a hum, a shared table, a quick question answered on the fly. Offer quiet zones, collaboration hubs. Now, shift lenses from energy to information, sensing and intuition. This pair maps attention, not intelligence. Sensors notice what is, who, what, where, when, how much. If it's measurable, observable, or already proven, it earns their trust. We shipped 42 units last week, up 8%. The client asked for 3 revisions. The blue is 2 shades lighter than the sample. Intuitives notice what could be. Patterns, connections, possibilities. This looks like the early phase of a shift. What if we productize the process? The color tells a bigger brand story. Planning meeting. Sensors ask for timelines, resources, constraints. Intuitives ask about the why, the ripple effects. Problem solving. Sensors test one variable at a time and document each result. Intuitives jump to pattern hypotheses and backfill steps. Feedback. Sensors. Slide 4 font is small, raised to 14 pt. Intuitives. The story arc dips in the middle, tighten the tension. Listen for phrase tells, sensors. Exactly. What's the proof? Walk me through the steps. Intuitives. Essentially. What's the big picture? Let's explore the angle. Sensors prevent drift and keep operations grounded. Intuitives prevent stagnation and keep strategy alive. Projects need both, one to lay bricks, one to sketch the skyline. With sensors, show data first, then implications. Keep examples concrete and testable. With intuitives, start with the pattern or purpose, then attach evidence. Offer room to question assumptions. When they clash, it often sounds like you're nitpicking versus you're hand-waving. To a sensor, here's the verified baseline, then 2 scenarios. To an intuitive, here's the core insight, then the numbers that support it. Quick exercise. Before speaking, silently tag your point as energy or information. Are you recharging by talking it out or adding a data point or proposing a pattern? Then choose summary email, quick huddle whiteboard sketch. We'll keep building these spotting skills. Up next, how sensing and intuition show up under pressure and how to pair them for faster, clearer decisions. Pick up where we left off. Sensing and intuition in the wild. Daily stand-up. A sensor reports, ticket 143 closed. Bug replicated on iOS 16.6. Patch in QA. An intuitive adds, 3 similar reports in a week, signal of a pattern. Maybe a permissions model gap. Pair them. The sensor confirms scope. The intuitive scans for drift. Customer interview. Sensor writes verbatim quotes and timestamps. Intuitive sketches a journey map with turning points. Merge artifacts. Evidence layered onto insight. Now the team can trust what happened and why it matters. Forecasting, sensor projects from known baselines, last quarter, rolling average seasonality. Intuitive searches for inflection points, new competitor regulation behavior shift. Best path, start with the verified curve, then test the disruption scenario. Design review, sensor flags mismatched paddings, missing alt text load time by device. Intuitive asks, what's the emotional arc from first tap to wow? Ship both, accessible, fast and meaningful. Hiring, sensor checks minimum criteria, certifications shipped work references, intuitive looks for transfer patterns, how they learn, how they adapt, the story behind the moves, decision improves when the checklist meets the narrative. Retrospective, sensors prefer, what worked, what didn't, what will change. Intuitives prefer, what's the theme, the signal in the noise. Blend, start, concrete, end with a short thesis. Slack thread, sensor says, source? Link, what's the sample size? Intuitive says, essentially? Zooming out, if this holds, hear the tells without judging the style. Under pressure, sensors can over-index on proof and stall. Offer a safe pilot. 2-day test, 5 users, go, no-go, Friday. Under pressure, intuitives can over-index on concept and skip steps. Offer a runway, outline the thesis in 5 slides, then we'll assign 2 validations. Cross-check tool. If you're a sensor, ask, what larger pattern could this data sit inside? If you're an intuitive, ask, what smallest test would disprove my hunch? Quick meeting choreography. Start with the sensor baseline, facts, constraints, must-haves. Move to the intuitive expansion, hypotheses, options, second-order effects. Close with a sensor anchor, what, who, by, when. Capture an intuitive note, what we're watching next. Email formats, to a sensor, subject lines with metrics, bullet steps, attachment names. To an intuitive, purpose up top the bet, we're placing links. When conflict sounds like nitpicking versus hand-waving, reframe. Let's set the floor on a sensor, then explore the ceiling, intuitive. Now shift the lens from information to decision, thinker and feeler, not cold versus kind, not smart versus soft. It's the question you lead with when choosing. Thinkers start with consistency and logic. Does this hold up? Is it fair across cases? What are the trade-offs? Feelers start with values and impact. Who's affected? Is it respectful? What builds trust? Both weigh logic, both weigh people. The order and emphasis differ. tells in feedback, thinker. The argument has a gap on slide 6. We need criteria before exceptions. Feeler, the tone on slide 6 may land as dismissive. We need input before rollout. In a pricing debate, a thinker frames unit economics, margin thresholds, price, elasticity. A feeler frames perceived fairness, customer loyalty, support, burden. A resilient decision includes both. Sustainable math, sustainable trust. In conflict, thinkers can sound blunt under stress, brevity as efficiency. Offer a bridge. State the principle, then add one sentence on impact. Feelers can soften too much under stress, harmony over clarity. Offer a frame. Name the impact, then one clear ask. Meetings that fit. Thinkers thrive with criteria, first scoring, rubrics, pros, cons, tables. Feelers thrive with stakeholder maps, story slices, shared norms, language swaps. To a thinker, here are the constraints, here's the model, here's the decision rule. To a feeler, here's the purpose, here's how it affects people, here's how we'll support them. Hiring panel. Thinker asks, walk me through your decision tree when two deadlines collide. Feeler asks, tell me about a time you advocated for someone who wasn't in the room. Performance review. Thinker hears growth in clearer frameworks, measurable outcomes. Feeler hears growth in relationship health, inclusion, morale signals. Give both. Frameworks people can believe in and people who can carry them. When T and F clash, it can sound like you're making it personal versus you're ignoring the human. Translate to a thinker. Here's the principle. Here's the risk to trust if we violate it. To a feeler, here's the impact. Here's the standard that protects everyone. Quick self-check before you speak. Am I applying a rule or defending a value? If both matter here, name both. Our standard is X because people experience Y, we'll do Z. We'll keep threading these pairs. Up next, how thinkers and feelers handle tough calls and how to land decisions that people accept and systems can bear. When the stakes rise, thinker and feeler show their starting question. Thinker. What's the system stabilizing move? Feeler. Who's impacted and how do we show care? Incident at 2 a.m., server down, customers stuck. Thinker asks, what stabilizes the system fastest? Criteria, triage, reversibility. Feeler asks, who's impacted right now? Outreach, clarity, dignity. Best order under heat. 1. Stabilize, contain the blast radius. 1. Communicate. Say what you know, what you don't, when you'll update. 1. Name the principle and the care, uptime and trust. 1. Assign owners. Set the next checkpoint. Apology drafting, thinker, precise. Thinker, accountable. Thinker, no extra promises. Feeler, human. Feeler, validating. Feeler, restores relationship. Ship both, clean logic. Ship both, real empathy. 1 page, 3 paragraphs, 1 action link. Decision you can defend and digest. Principle, we protect customer data over speed. People, here's who is affected and how we'll support them. Path, by Friday we migrate X and we'll confirm at 4 p.m. daily. Buy-in signals differ. Thinker trusts transparent logic, even when it stings. Feeler trusts felt consideration, even when it's hard. Meeting rhythm, 5 minutes. Model, 5 minutes. Impact, 5 minutes. Commitments. Under pressure, thinker can over-index on rule and miscontext. Bridge, state the rule. Bridge, list 2 edge cases. Bridge, define a safe exception. Feeler can over-index on harmony and blur the ask. Bridge, name the impact. Bridge, make 1 clear request. Bridge, put a date. Translation when sparks fly. To a thinker, the principle holds. Here's the risk to trust if we skip this step. To a feeler, the impact is real. Here's the standard that protects everyone the same way. Self-check before you ship a tough call. Am I selecting the most consistent rule? Am I respecting the people most affected? If both matter, name both. Because X is our standard and people experience Y, we'll do Z. Now the clock and the plan, judger and perceiver, not judgmental versus chill. It's your relationship to closure and openness. Do you prefer to decide and lock or explore and adapt? Tells in the week. Judger, calendar blocks. Judger, checklist streaks. Judger, milestone burn down. Done early is room to polish. Perceiver, flexible holds. Perceiver, live dashboards. Perceiver, options list. Late data beats early certainty. At the whiteboard, Judger, tightens scope, MVP by Friday. Judger, cut nice to haves. Perceiver expands options. What if we swap this module? Perceiver, is there a lighter path? Best build, freeze, then flex. Freeze a baseline by noon. Flex on the two variables that matter most. Emails, to a Judger, subject with due date. To a Judger, numbered steps. To a Judger, attachment names. To a Perceiver, purpose. To a Perceiver, window of decision. To a Perceiver, alternatives with links. Meetings that fit. Judger thrives with a crisp agenda. Judger, decisions logged. Judger, owners assigned. Perceiver thrives with a discovery segment. Perceiver, time-boxed exploration. Perceiver, space for signals. Choreography, open with Judger, definition of done. Middle for Perceiver, what else could work? Close with Judger, who, what, when. Capture the Perceiver, watch list. What we're monitoring next. Deadlines. Judger moves the line forward. Commit. Judger, deliver. Judger, iterate after. Perceiver moves the line smart. Scan for late breaking info. Perceiver, optimize path. Guardrails. For Judges, insert a hold point, 24-hour check. Any new info that should alter the plan? For Perceivers, set a decision gate. Choose at 3 p.m. with the best info available. Under stress, Judger can rush to closure to lower anxiety. Risk, locking on yesterday's picture. Offer a pause, one last look block, invite a dissent in a single slide. Perceiver can drift to avoid trade-offs. Risk, perpetual maybe. Offer a funnel. Pick 3 constraints, choose within them. Time box the choice. Language swaps. To a Judger, here is the plan, the cutoff and the fallback. To a Perceiver, here are the options, the window and what would change our mind. Roles that shine. Judger as anchor, sequence. Judger, cadence. Judger, finish lines. Perceiver as scout, signals. Perceiver, pivots. Perceiver, opportunity windows. Healthy teams pair anchor and scout on the same mission. Quick self-check. Judger, am I closing because it's enough or because it's uncomfortable to keep open? Perceiver, am I keeping open because it's better or because I'm avoiding a trade-off? We'll keep threading these axes. Logic and care, closure and flow. Next, we bring J and P into the project lifecycle. How to plan, pivot, and still ship. When the project breathes, Judger and Perceiver set the rhythm. Close, then open. Freeze, then flex. That's the loop. Wrap the JP rules of thumb plan shape. Judger shapes the lane. Perceiver scouts the bends. Decision timing. Judger sets the gate. Perceiver feeds the gate with late data. Change handling. Judger logs the change and rebaselines. Perceiver senses signals and suggests pivots. Health checks. Judger asks, is it done enough? Perceiver asks, is it still the right thing? Life cycle in one pass. Kickoff. Freeze the definition of done by noon. Flex the 2 variables that matter most by end of day. Build, hold point at 24 hours. Any new info? Decision gate at 3 p.m. Choose with what we have. Launch, anchor the cutoff. Publish the fallback. Keep a watch list for signals. After, log what locked too soon. Log what wandered too long. Tune the next loop. Now into practical comparisons. Types that look similar in meetings, but work differently under the hood. Part 1. Pair 1, INTJ versus INTP. Same N, same I. Different closure, core posture. INTJ, select the model, then calibrate. Core posture. INTP, interrogate the model, then select. When time is short, INTJ narrows fast, risks locking on a strong hypothesis. Ask for one disconfirming test. INTP keeps options live, risks analysis drift. Ask for one decision criterion and a time box. Emails that land to INTJ. Objective decision constraints. Draft attached. Need yes, no by 4. To INTP, question, alternatives, trade-offs, link to data. Choose at 4 with best info. Meeting roles. INTJ owns the spine. INTP polishes the logic. Watchouts. INTJ under stress slices nuance to ship. Bridge. Show the one case where the rule breaks, then propose a safe exception. INTP under stress expands nuance to delay. Bridge. Pick 3 constraints, commit inside them. Pair 2. ISTJ versus ISFJ. Same S, same J core posture. ISTJ. What's the standard and did we follow it? Core posture. ISFJ. What's the impact and how do we support it? When things break, ISTJ restores procedure, writes the clear step, locks the fix. When things break, ISFJ restores trust, calls the person and checks they're okay. Messaging that works. To ISTJ, policy reference, deviation, corrective action, owner, date. To ISFJ, who's affected, what will do for them, timeline, point of contact, meeting roles. ISTJ owns compliance and accuracy. ISFJ owns continuity and experience. Watchouts. ISTJ can be rule rigid. Bridge. State the rule. Name the context. Log the exception format. ISFJ can soften the ask. Bridge. Name the impact. Make one clear request. Set a date. Pair 3. ENFP versus ENTP. Same. E-same NP core posture. ENFP. Possibility with purpose. Core posture. ENTP. Possibility with leverage. In exploration, ENFP maps, stories, and momentum. ENTP maps, systems, and switches, converging without killing energy. For ENFP, anchor on beneficiary and promise. For ENTP, anchor on constraint and payoff. Assignments that click. ENFP, pilot with community signal, narrative framing. ENTP, prototype with technical inversion, A-B spikes. Watchouts. ENFP can over-index on resonance. Add a metric. ENTP can over-index on cleverness. Add a principle. Pair 4. ESTJ versus ENTJ. Same EJ drive S versus N in the throttle core posture. ESTJ operational command, core posture. ENTJ strategic command, path to outcomes. ESTJ optimizes the known. ENTJ reforms the field, briefs that land. To ESTJ, current baseline, variance, root cause, next 3 steps. To ENTJ, North Star, big rocks, trade-offs, critical path. Watchouts. ESTJ may miss discontinuities. Invite 1. What changes if X explodes? Segment. ENTJ may skip ground truth. Insert a walk the floor check and a pilot. Pull through moves across all pairs. Name the axis in play. Pair the roles on purpose. Anchor owns the cutoff. Scout owns the signals. End with the trio. Principle, people, path. Next, personality types comparisons. Part 2. Practical plays for SF versus NF collaboration. We're still in the room. Same cameras, same whiteboard, same stakes. Personality types, number 1 comparisons. Part 2. Pair 5. INFJ versus INFP core posture. INFJ. Name the arc. Align the people. Commit. Core posture. INFP. Name the value. Test the fit. Protect. When time is short, INFJ frames a path and gathers buy-in. Ask for one measurable checkpoint. INFP protects integrity and pauses for meaning. Ask for one non-negotiable and one negotiable. Docs that land. To INFJ, outcome, narrative, spine, stakeholders, milestones. To INFP, purpose, principles, options that honor the value, gentle deadline. Meeting roles. INFJ holds the arc. INFP guards the core. Watchouts. INFJ can oversteer. Bridge. Share 2 paths. Let the group choose one. INFP can undercommit. Bridge. Pick a good enough step that preserves the value. Pair 6. ENFJ versus ESFJ core posture. ENFJ, move hearts toward the horizon. Core posture. ESFJ, stabilize care in the present. In motion, ENFJ designs change stories. ESFJ designs support systems. Briefs that land. To ENFJ, why now who changes end state picture risks to morale. To ESFJ, who's affected today playbook contacts service level calendar. Watch out. ENFJ can promise the future and skip today's friction. Add a ground ops buddy. ESFJ can preserve comfort and stall evolution. Add one safe experiment with a date. Meeting roles. ENFJ frames the why, ESFJ runs the how we care. Pair 7, ISTP versus ESTP, core posture, ISTP. Give me the problem, I'll cut the mechanism. Core posture, ESTP. Put me in the arena, I'll move the needle. When things are moving fast, ISTP isolates variables, then fixes. Ask for visibility points, ESTP engages the field, then adapts. Ask for fail-safes and a rollback. Assignments that click, ISTP, root cause autopsy precision fix tooling. ESTP, live fire pilot vendor, wrangle field negotiation, watch out. ISTP can go solo and under-communicate, bridge, set a broadcast cadence. ESTP can overextend and under-instrument, bridge, pre-wire metrics and bounds. Pair 8, ESFP versus ENFP, core posture. ESFP, make it real, make it land now. Core posture. ENFP, make it meaningful, make it scale later. In exploration, ESFP reads the room and response. ENFP reads the purpose and patterns. Converging, for ESFP, lock the next action audiences will feel today. For ENFP, lock the promise that aligns stories tomorrow. Assignments that click, ESFP launch moment experiential demo customer advocacy, ENFP community pilot narrative campaign brand promise test. Watch-outs, ESFP can chase applause over durability, add a retention metric, ENFP can chase ideals over traction, add a 7-day signal check. Pair 9, ISTJ versus INTJ, core posture. ISTJ, honor what works, tighten the screws. Core posture, INTJ, select the system, shift the game. Under deadline, ISTJ enforces standard to ship. Ask for one tolerance band. INTJ enforces thesis to win. Ask for one disconfirming probe. Briefs that land. 2 ISTJ, spec variance fixed list owners dates. 2 INTJ, target state model choice trade-offs, critical bets. Watch-outs, ISTJ may resist necessary change. Add a bounded exception path. INTJ may overfit a model. Add a pilot on rough ground. Pull through moves across these pairs, name the axis, say it out loud. We're steering N versus S, or we're managing J versus P. Split the jobs, anchor versus scout. Anchor holds the cutoff. Scout feeds late data. Pre-commit the trio, principal, people, path. Principal, people, path. Add one friction test and one traction test to every plan. Transition. Personality types number 2, from pairwise to pattern plays. We zoom out, less A versus B, more quadrants in motion. SF versus NF, care and context. SF grounds the human present, NF aims the human future. Plays, walk the floor, then tell the story. Pair an SF service metric with an NF meaning metric. ST versus NT, proof and projection. ST ensures what works, NT evolves what wins. Plays, pilot on real data, decide on model logic. Pair an ST baseline with an NT hypothesis. SJ versus SP, reliability versus responsiveness. SJ locks the lane, SP dances in traffic. Plays, freeze the rule, flex the route. SJ sets the standard, SP handles variance. NJ versus NP, direction versus discovery. NJ selects a path, NP populates options. Plays, choose a bet, keep 2 probes. NJ anchors the bet, NP runs the scouts. EJ versus IP, drive versus depth. EJ mobilizes, IP refines plays. Decide early, improve late. EJ sets cadence, IP tunes the mechanism. Next chapter. Personality types number 2, full toolkit, cross-axis playbooks, handoffs by phase, and the choreography that keeps principal, people, and path in sync. We go from comparisons to systems that ship. We zoom out from pairs to patterns, 5 big lanes, each with a clear play. For every lane, you'll hear 2 quick moves. Sister, how to borrow from the close cousin across 1 letter. Self, how to lean into your home lane with intent. SF versus NF. Care and context. SF anchors the human present. NF aims the human future. Play, walk the floor, then tell the story. If you're NF, sister, move. Before pitching meaning, gather 2 floor-level snapshots. Names, moments, frictions. Use them as your story's first paragraph. If you're NF, self-move, end with a promise metric. Morale, plus 10%. Onboarding, story, clarity. So, the meaning has a dial. If your SF, sister move, add a why now sentence that links today's care to tomorrow's purpose. If your SF, self move, pair one service metric with a human touchpoint, response under 2 hours, callback by a known person, ST versus NT, proof and projection. ST ensures what works, NT evolves what wins. Play, pilot on real data. Decide on model logic. If your NT, sister move, run a scrappy pilot with 3 hard measures before you refine the thesis. If your NT, self move, keep a disconfirming probe. 1 question that could kill your favorite model. If your ST, sister move, after the pilot, write a 1-page model choice. Why this? Why not that? So the change scales. If your ST, self move, publish the baseline, tolerance bands. So working has edges, SJ versus SP, reliability versus responsiveness. SJ locks the lane, SP dances in traffic. Play, freeze the rule, flex the route. If your SP, sister move, ask SJ for the non-negotiable standard, then propose 2 flexible paths that honor it. If your SP, self move, name the variance window, how long you'll improvise before returning to standard. If your SJ, sister move, add a bounded exception path. Who can approve a deviation for how long? If your SJ, self move, tighten the screws after learning, fold the best exception into the next standard. NJ versus NP, direction versus discovery. NJ selects a path. NP populates options. Play, choose a bet. Keep 2 probes. If your NP, sister move, time box your exploration. Deliver 2 viable probes with dates and exit criteria. If your NP, self move, tag 1 wild option, tag 1 near option, so the room can adopt at least 1. If your NJ, sister move, publish a clear bet statement, sponsor 2 scouts that might challenge or sharpen it. If your NJ, self move, define the kill switch for the bet, alongside the success threshold. EJ versus IP, drive versus depth. EJ mobilizes, IP refines play, decide early, improve late. If your IP, sister move, accept a draft decision, secure a refinement window, what you'll tune, by when, and how it ships. If your IP, self move, isolate the mechanism you own, 1 subsystem you will make undeniably smoother. If your EJ, sister move, set the cadence. Then schedule 2 improvement pits where IP leads the tweaks. If your EJ, self move, declare the minimum shippable. The first patch date so momentum never stalls. Putting it together, principle, people, path. Name the axis out loud. SFNF, service plus meaning. STNT, baseline plus hypothesis. SJSP, standard plus exception. NJNP, bet plus probes. EJIP, ship plus refine. Sister keeps you honest, self keeps you crisp. Next, we choreograph the handoffs by phase. Who anchors, who scouts, and when to switch, so principle, people, and path stay in sync as you ship. Let's land types number 2 with the handoffs. Sensitivity, love at work, and speed reading you can use tomorrow. Phase plays. Anchor scout switch, kickoff, declare the why and the bet. EJ anchors cadence. NJ frames the path. NF names the meaning. Scouts, NP for 2 probes. IP for a refinement window. Explore, open the options, keep edges. NP anchors the probes with exit criteria. ST publishes the baseline. SJ posts the non-negotiables. Scouts, NT for model logic. SP for exception routes. Decide, converge. NJ anchors the bet statement with a kill switch. NT runs the disconfirming probe. Scout, SF for ripple check. Humans first, then lock. Build, make it real. SJ anchors the standard. ST sets tolerance bands. Scouts, SP for bounded flex. IP isolates the subsystem to smooth. Launch, ship, then tell. EJ anchors the release and the first patch date. SF owns the human touchpoints. NF closes with a promise metric. Improve, fold the learnings. IP anchors the refinement sprint. NT and NJ pressure test the next version. SJ tightens the new standard so it sticks. Sister keeps you honest. Self keeps you crisp. Phase makes it move. Highly sensitive versus normal. Why some signals hit louder. About 1/3 of people process deeper, notice more, feel stronger. 4 flags. DOES. Depth. They connect more dots before they speak. Overstimulation. Too many inputs. Quality drops. Empathy and emotions, mood contagion, vivid highs and lows. Sensory, lights, noise, texture, temperature, spike the load. Plays that help everyone, especially HSP, pre-reads over pop quizzes. One channel at a time. Quiet zones by default. Time box intensity, recovery windows, no meeting blocks, decompression walks, fewer surprises, early heads up for change with a why now. Pair them where depth wins, risk reviews, pattern spotting, narrative polish, social safety valves, debrief after drama, one clear owner in conflict, HSP self-move, protect inputs, choose seat, set filters, batch pings, name your energy window, HSP sister move, borrow EJ and SP bursts with a timer. 25 minutes on, 5 off, then retreat to depth. Manager moves, do, ask, how do you work best, and actually adjust. Don't equate quiet with weak or fast talk with smart. Love languages at work, not weird. Words, specific, timely appreciation. Private for eyes, public for ease, time. Focused, agenda light one-on-ones. Sit in support during tough reps. Service, remove a blocker, do the first draft, cover a shift. Tokens, useful tools, choice snacks, small budgets for self-upgrades. Touch becomes enablement and celebrations. High five vibe, not contact, spot and feed. Ask, what lands for you? Notes, time help tools, little surprises, write it down. Rotate the dial on purpose. SF often glow on service and words. NF on words and time. ST on service and tokens that increase utility, NT on enablement, autonomy, sharp tools, SJ on service and reliable tokens, predictable rhythms, SP on time and experiential tokens, variety passes, EJ on public words and visible tokens that move the mission, IP on quiet time and precise service, polished details, sister moves. If you over-index on tokens, add words. Name the behavior, not just the output. If you live in words, add service. One blocker removed beats 10 compliments. Self-moves, pick a primary love dial for your team this quarter. Make it a ritual. Speed reading, 10-second type scan. Energy, do they warm up by talking? E, or thinking? I. Information, concrete snapshots, past, present. S, or patterns and what if? N. Decision, works and trade-offs, T, or people and ripple care, F. Time, closure and plans, J, or options and flow, P. Pair tells, SF versus NF, today's people versus tomorrow's meaning, ST versus NT, examples and baselines versus models and hypotheses, SJ versus SP, rules first versus options within guardrails, NJ versus NP, one chosen path versus a menu with probes, EJ versus IP, start it now versus perfect it soon. Micro plays to test your read. For E, ask them to demo early. For I, offer a pre-read. For S, show 2 floor snapshots. For N, open with the why or choose so what. For T, bring the metric and the trade. For F, bring the human and the why now. For J, give a date and definition of done. For P, give a window and variance band. Close the loop, principle, people, path. Name the axis out loud, baseline and hypothesis, service and meaning, standard and exception, bet and probes, ship and refine. Choose the play, call the sister, commit the self, switch by phase. You now have the pattern book, the sensitivity lens, and the love at work dials. Next, end sting, your one-line mantra, and the on-ramp to the next series.
With all the different types of personalities out there, we must understand that each person sees the world different way. If you are an extrovert, you enjoy going out and being with friends and in social groups, and find being at home and relaxing a bit unnerving. The introvert, on the other hand, likes to be around others but would find going out every night to be exhausting. One personality type is not necessarily better than another, but they view the world differently, and that was just an example of one part of the personality. Imagine what happens when we add perceiver, judger, and sensitive into the mix. Based on your personality type, you might respond to things that happen in the world in different manners. One example of this is words of praise. Some people seem to not care less if they are praised for their work or not. They head into work each day and try to do the best they can, and they are proud of a job well done. Then there are those who, even though they know they did a good job, crave the praise. Without this, they will feel left behind, or that something is wrong with the work they did. If you find that you meet someone who needs this praise and words of affirmation, then you can never overdo it with the amount of praise you give. They thrive on hearing that you appreciate them, that you notice their hard work, and that you value them. Failure to do this, even if unintentional, can sometimes make the other person worry, and can cause a rift in the relationship, even if you did not mean it. This is just one example of how someone can see the world differently than you. You might like the praise but not see it as important. Someone else might see the praise as unnecessary and bothersome. And still others need that praise to make them feel good. Acts of service or helping others can be another personality trait to watch for. If you notice that someone is always helping to pick up after you, offers to run an errand, will stay late and work with you, or folds your clothes in the special way you like, then this is likely how they view showing kindness and love for others. When you get back to them with small acts of kindness, that would take them over the moon in happiness. Have you ever been around that person who seems to love to give and receive gifts? It doesn't have to be Christmas. They will pick up something thoughtful they saw at the store for you, and they seem to get so much delight anytime that they can provide a small token to someone else. It goes the other way as well. They are more than pleased anytime you think of them with a gift, no matter how big or small. One person might just enjoy your time and attention and will feel that you are taking a day off and spending it with them, or that putting your work away early can be the best thing in the world, while the gifts and praise do not mean as much to them. Physical touch is another thing to pay attention to. Some people don't want to be touched unless they are really familiar with you. Others feel that touch is the best way for them to communicate with one another. Can you imagine how all these different types of people and different types of personalities are going to see the world differently? What is important to someone else may not seem like a big deal to you, but what is important to you may not be a big deal to someone else. This is a long list of personality types, but if we have an organized system, it is easy and efficient to use them when we are speed reading the people around us. The first system that you can try when you are reading people is to simply know this information. If you know the different personality types and their traits, the people that have these personality types may stand out to you. For example, if you know that introverted people tend to be quiet and like time alone, and you meet someone who matches these criteria, you will recognize right away that they are an introvert without even trying. If you know the information well, it will show up in your mind when you need it the most. Another system that you could use would be to run through the personality categories one by one in your mind. To do this, you might want to organize the categories into a list in your thoughts so that you will know where to start, and so that you do not forget about any of the categories. With these personality traits, you can discover so much about who a person truly is. You can see where the person's energy is directed, you can see what types of information the person tends to notice and remember, and you can even see how the person reaches conclusions and makes decisions. You can see the type of environment that the person is the most comfortable in. You can see the person's cognitive function and what they want and need in their life. You can see what they are happy with, as well as what types of things can motivate them. You can see how they tick, and you can even see their potential dark sides. Becoming familiar with the different types of personality tests that are out there, and exploring how to tell which kind of person fits into each one, is going to make a big difference in how you will be able to handle the different people you meet in your life. Remember that not everyone is going to fit into a nice little box. You can do all the personality tests that you would like, but you might find that, for example, someone is mostly introverted but have a bit of extrovert in them. Someone might be a bit dominant, but they are not as rough and tough about it as they might seem. For example, while my sister is introverted, it does not mean that she will avoid being around people at all costs, or that she will not talk to people once she does get out. In fact, she can be quite the chatterbox once you get her started. The key is to just hit on a subject that she wants to talk about and feels comfortable with, and you would swear that she was actually a hyper-energetic extrovert. Sometimes all it takes to see another side of someone like that is to get them more comfortable with you, and then you will see their true, if conflicting, personalities. On the other hand, just because I am more extroverted does not mean that I need to be around people all day, every day. Yes, I more often enjoy being around a bunch of other people than I do just sitting at home by myself or with a couple of close friends. Still, there are times when I need some me time in order to get some rest and be ready for the next big get-together. After all, I am a feeler as well. I am more emotional, although not highly sensitive, and sometimes need a break from the highs and lows of other people's lives. I do not take myself out of the public eye for long, mind you, but I still need some me time to avoid the risk of social burnout. There are varying degrees of different personality traits and types, and it takes time to learn how to recognize each one. People don't fit into the little boxes that you create. They are varied, and they will act the way they want, regardless of what a personality test says. However, this is a good way to get an idea of how a certain person is going to react in different situations, and you can work from there as you get more experience speed reading others. Overall, it is easy to see that by speed reading a person's personality, we can learn a significant amount of information about them personally and about their lives. After reading through this information, you should take the tools above and use them to help you speed read others. Intuition is something that can be used as a tool when you are speed reading people around you. It is a tool that I personally have used very often in speed reading. In this chapter, we will look into what intuition is, learn how exactly to use it in speed reading, and hear a personal story of how strong of a tool intuition truly is. First, let's look into what intuition really is. Intuition is the feeling that you get about a person or situation even if you don't know much about it. It is the feeling that you can get that makes you feel like you are in danger or makes you feel safe. It is not necessarily a learned skill. It is mostly something that we are born with. Because of this, intuition can be a strong tool to use in speed reading. When you use intuition in speed reading, you use it like you do in any other way. Using intuition while reading the people around you is no different than using intuition for the rest of your life. You will not necessarily have to try to use your intuition. It is something that comes naturally. Because of this, intuition is not really a tool that you can count on. It is not a tool that you can put in your list of things to use. Sometimes it will come to you while you are reading a person, and other times it will not. The important thing about using intuition while you are reading people is to simply remember to use it when it shows up. It is almost like a free tool. It is something you don't have to think about, but that it just happens and you can use it to your advantage. There was one particular instance when my intuition came in handy, and perhaps even saved me, that sticks out in my mind. In my college days, I spent my summers working as a cashier in a small-town garden center. The days were long and the customers were few and far between. So I spent many hours just caring for the plants and waiting for customers to bring their plants to the checkout aisle. Because there was not much work to do, I often found myself speed reading the people who came through the store. I would try to discover if they were dads of young kids or busy high-class workers. I would picture what type of garden their personality type would prefer. This helped me to pass the time, and it helped me to better understand my customers. This led to me being able to help the customers in a better way. One day, however, I did not even have to use my speed reading techniques. The doors of the garden center opened, and I heard footsteps. My intuition kicked in before I even looked up at the customers that had just entered. For some reason, my intuition sensed evil in these people. I was able to press the button on my register that told security to come to me before any sort of problem was able to arise. The men walked straight toward me, and the sense of evil grew. Security was in the room before the men even reached the register, and when they saw the officers, they turned around and left the store. In this situation, my intuition was an automatic response. It was my body's way of protecting myself from something that could have turned into a horrible situation. It was fast, and I was not in control of this instinct. I did not even have a chance to think about speed reading these people as my intuition kicked in so fast. but my body's response to the evil that they brought into the store was an instinctual version of speed reading. Now, this intuition was intense, and typically your experience with this type of speed reading will not be so intense. You might get a feeling that a person could use help with paying for their groceries at the store, for example. You might just get a feeling that someone is not telling the truth when you are talking to them. You might someday even feel intuition as strongly as I did, and in an intense situation like I did. No matter how intuition comes to you, it is important that you listen to it. It is clear that this is one of the strongest speed reading tools available to you. It is easy to use since you do not need to remember anything, you simply use the feelings as they come. It might be simple to use, but it is still extremely effective. It is a feeling and a speed reading tool that you never want to ignore. In addition to saving yourself from potentially harmful situations, as it did for me, your intuition could also help you save the person that you are reading. I have experienced this scenario as well, albeit much more recently while in a session with a client. One of my patients was a mentally disabled war veteran seeing me for PTSD. Despite his PTSD, he was normally a fairly happy, pleasant person. I always had a good feeling when I saw him, and at times, he even made it hard to recognize that he was experiencing trauma beneath all the pleasantries, and that it could be triggered by something as simple as a loud bang. One day he came in for his twice-a-week session, and something deep in my gut told me that something was off. He greeted me the same as always, and did not act any differently than normal. Still, my intuition told me that something was very wrong with him. It was not the same feeling of evil that I had that day, that those men approached me in the garden center. Instead, this felt more like dread, and as though something bad would happen to him, not to me. As we carried on with the session, nothing abnormal occurred, but I could not shake that feeling. Finally, I stopped our normal conversation and changed gears to ask my patient if he had had any thoughts of suicide. As always, he told me no, but I kept pressing. My intuition would not stop annoying me about this, so I decided that I would not stop bugging him until I was satisfied that I had the truth. At last, he admitted to me that he had planned on shooting himself as soon as he got home from our session. While I panicked on the inside, I was able to talk him down and convince him to let me take him to the hospital and be put on a psychiatric watch. He was able to get the help that he needed to get him through this hard spot in his life, and I learned for the second time in my life how important my intuition was when it came to speed reading people. While not a completely reliable tool, my intuition has been wrong before. Intuition is also very powerful and useful. You won't always have the luxury of doubting your intuition, especially when it is trying to warn you of an emergency. So get into the practice of following your intuition first, and double-checking the reading later. It could just save a life. You are learning how to speed read people for a reason. That reason is probably not only so that you can help the people around you. This can be a good thing to do, but you probably have some reasons that are a little bit more selfish. Luckily, it is easy to use speed reading for your own advantage. When you know personality types and traits, you will be able to use your knowledge to help you in many ways in your own life. First, let's look into how you can use personality types and traits to get to know people better in your own life. If you need friends or if you are looking to start a new romantic relationship, you will be able to use your knowledge of personality traits and types in this journey. You will be able to tell the personality of the person you are trying to get to know, and you will be able to impress them because you will know what they like and what they need from you. Next, let's look into how you can use your knowledge of personality types and traits to your advantage in your employment. First, you can use your knowledge to get you the job you like. You can use it in your interview and your screening process, and also use your knowledge when you have a permanent job to get to know your coworkers and work well with them. You can even use your knowledge to get to know your bosses and impress them by doing the things that they like. This might even help you to get raises or promotions at work. Knowing your personality traits and types can even help you in your home life. If you know the personalities of people in your family, you will be able to love them better and help them better in what they need. This will, in turn, make for a better family solution for you. Your family will be happier, and you will have less stress in your home if you are able to give them what they need. You can use your skills in speed reading in places like the grocery store. If you are able to speed read your cashier, for example, and tell what type of personality they have, you might be able to get them to help you in a kind and polite way, even if they are having a hard day. This is because you will be able to make them feel good about themselves and make them feel appreciated. In turn, you will not have to deal with workers that are not happy to help you. If you know your own personality type, you can use it for your own good as well. You can use these personality traits to determine what type of worker you are, and use this information to get yourself the job that you would like best. If you know your personality type, you will know what type of job you will succeed in, as well as what type of job you will enjoy. If you know that you are a highly sensitive person, it will help you to know the reason why you react so strongly to certain situations. There is nothing wrong with being highly sensitive, but people might judge you for it. If you know that you have this trait, you can start feeling bad about people that judge you for it. It will help you understand that it is a good thing, and that is a part of who you are. Being highly sensitive is a gift that others might not fully understand. Many times, the most sensitive people I have encountered are the most trustworthy, the most caring, and the most likely to be there when you need them. One time I had an acquaintance that I had met at a party. I remember being told to watch out when talking to this person, because they tended to take things to heart and feel under attack when the conversation started to get a little heated. With this in mind, I carefully steered the conversation away from anything that could be offensive or cause issues. Later on, when I needed some help with finding someone to watch our beloved family pet when we had to leave out of town unexpectedly, they were the first ones to offer. They understood the situation, didn't feel like we were taking advantage of them, and had a heart of gold to be willing to help. This is a good lesson to learn by opening to all kinds of people. You never know what they have gone through, and they can definitely be there for you, even when it seems unlikely. If you know how you receive love, you will be able to help other people love you well by telling them what you prefer. This will help you to feel their love, and it will help the people around you to know how to show their love to you. They have it, so they might as well show it to you in the way that you can hear the best. Overall, knowing personality types and traits can help your life in many ways. It can give you the ability to know the people around you, it can provide you with great life experiences, and it can help you to know yourself. It is a tool that everyone should know how to use. Understanding the personality types of those around you, whether they are acquaintances or someone you are close to, can make a difference on how strong that relationship can be. For this exercise, take some time to answer the questions below to help open your views on how the personality traits of someone else can make their worldview different from your own. How do you think that knowing the personality type of someone else and how they respond to the world would change how you view them and some of their actions? Do you think that if someone knew how you give and receive love, or what you saw as an important way to express yourself, they would see you in a different light?
You may be wondering why it is important to learn other people's body language. It may be a challenge, but it is important that you are aware. The ability to understand other people's body language saves you a lot of time that you would have probably been researching why they did something. This chapter refers to how you can understand people through body language. To gain the art of understanding people's nonverbal communication is a hard thing. You may be wondering how you can focus on learning other people's cues while you do not even know yourself fully. Well, this book would help you demystify the art of understanding the body language for different people. All of us are subconscious experts in interpreting the thoughts of other individuals around us. In the woolly mammoth age, we developed these abilities since our life depended on them, and the unconscious mind would work more efficiently than the conscious mind. However, when we make this unconscious understanding conscious, it does not yield a good result. Practically, we can respond with lightning speed to dodge a fist that some whiny brat throws in our way, or to jump out from the way of an approaching car before we can think about it explicitly. It is great. It is subconscious, and it works. But in particular, we find that most of us are much less skilled at actively knowing what everyone else in a group is thinking, doing, or deciding. For example, knowing if the chief ringleaders in the group are against your growth plan or not. There are motives to be seen, in the language of the body. The issue is that we simply get too much information from too little data about what others plan to do. People move, shake, continuously try to look up, look down or sideways, raise their eyebrows, roll their eyes, close their ears, and scratch their noses. What is this all about? How can you control it all in a public space and do so on time to react appropriately? You can't do that. Too many details come to us too quickly because excess chaff has been blended with wheat. You could wonder if Janet is stroking her lip because she is worried about your idea. Alternatively, is she just rubbing an itchy chin quite often? On the other hand, you could wonder if Jack will fold his arms since he resists your best efforts to change direction for the whole cohort. Or is he just cold? You can become insane by trying to intentionally track a room full of people's constantly shifting body cues to little use, because the discussion has transitioned on by the moment you figured it all out. In the meantime, you did not attend the discussion's useful content as you were supposed to. Is there a route around this predicament of expecting to screen gigabytes of gushing information about some individual's expectations intentionally and quickly, while at the same time considering the substance of the discussions? You should know that it is possible. Instead of checking the information, for the most part, search for affirmation of your theories about expectation, so that you can accelerate and limit the flood of data you have to take in. So, an honest inquiry is this. If you need to know how to analyze other individuals' intentions, how would you know how to affirm or dismiss this? The proper response is to limit your speculations to what you recognize before your meeting. At that point, you can suggest that the single conversation starter to your personality and use that skill to give a solid answer. So, we should begin. Here are 5 normal, helpful approaches to consider what other individuals mean. The approaches are divided into open and closed, being sincere or insincere, being allied or opposed, strong and subservient, committed and uncommitted. You can, however, add yours for specific circumstances not covered by these, and you will find that all these functions are within a large proportion of interactions between people where you need to track body language in particulars. I will touch every range. The goals are to spend a little time focusing on the nonverbal conversation at an upcoming meeting and choose which one best suits what you are worried about or involved in. Also to show the crux of the problem from you and from the people who care. Also, as this book addresses it, you will let go of all control of your subconscious mind and, as if by magic, you will get a simple and accurate measure of what other people want. It takes a little procedure, but this will change the way you read others and will enhance your ability to interact with them. We will begin by examining an individual's genuineness. How do you find out what is the truth? Read on. Sincerity versus insincerity. Your unconscious personality may be the ideal approach to the disturbing question of recognizing a lie. Look at the entire face and torso, and ask yourself if the person is sincere or not. Let's get down to business at that level of intuition. Perhaps the whole picture means that to decide it would be better to focus on one constant feature. Does the face, for example, is set on a smile but the eyes are cold? Dishonesty. Are your eyes fixed with a stupid stillness, but your hands anxiously intertwine? That is a crucial symbol of being insincere. The following most significant spot to check after the face is the direction of the head. Most of us, when we lie, we turn our head, tilting it up or down to move it away from the other person. That is the reason why it would be better not to focus a lot on specific cues, but instead, let your conscious personality get on the general situation. If you look at the eyes a lot, for instance, you may miss seeing that the head is turned down or sideways. So once more, ask yourself, is this individual genuine or deceitful? And after that, judge the entire individual. You will have the option to tell it more often than not. For those of you who are keen on the details, you will need to know a few of the particular tells in any case. Apart from the eyes and face, search for the torso just in case they turn it away from you, which will mean they are telling a lie, or towards you, which would mean they are telling the truth. Check whether there are guarded motions against the hands and arms and indications of quick movements from the hands and fingers. Even more, search for opposing conduct from the legs and feet. If your partner says, "No, everything's fine," but his feet are situated in an unusual way or his legs are clumsily crossed away from you, those are signs to look into his story further. Likewise, tune in for indications of strain in the voice. If you find that the voice is painstakingly controlled or somewhat sounding sharp or expected, the individual might be trying to disguise something. The world's best master of lying has discovered that people who are lying delay speaking to control their voice, their facial expressions, and their different gestures. In any case, even ordinary individuals can also rush to avoid a cumbersome minute of inspection. So, the primary concern to search for is a change of the voice, different from their usual, which you should know well in case of a spouse or a friend. Recognizing a liar in a public gathering is an extraordinary exercise. Certain individuals have made a vocation out of recognizing small-scale articulations that hid fundamental feelings. In any case, it is an uncertain science because many details are not available, and you don't have a clue why the individuals are covering their feelings. Is it dread? Anger? Energy? To get to know that, you need to become more acquainted with the individual, and that requires some time. Allied and opposed. This category will help you note if someone is on your side or not. How would you tell whether somebody is your ally or not? The fundamental nonverbal communication to search for this is the individual's physical position and direction. All you need is to look at the person's. When you're on to do this, you'll see that it is easy to get. Simply, individuals who are in understanding with each other generally mirror each other's gestures. One will lead and the other will follow. This is particularly easy to tell when there are 3 people present, and you need to make sense of who is your ally and who is not. Search for the person who has an essential similar body direction as yours. To test this, move around and check whether the other individual sticks to your same pattern in the following 30 seconds. Partners, spouses, and loved ones normally reflect each other's physical direction when they're at the same place or in public and they agree with each other. It is fascinating to watch couples for indications of reflection and the opposite. You can even recognize problems in the relationship before the couple knows about it. What occurs in reflections is more significant than just understanding or associating with the other person. Influence on each other is very strong. It originates from deep inside the mind. When we agree with somebody, we do so with our entire being. You can utilize this to boost understanding and influence somebody. Take a stand and watch others to receive it. When they have, they may transform it somewhat. The value of your power, or lack of it, will be rendered and verified by your nonverbal communication management in the room. The explanation is that the bodies of individuals reveal what they think, not the other way around. It is both unreasonable and clear. Our brains fundamentally say it, "I am physically adapted to this woman, so I should agree with her." That is because we don't want to think we are behaving without reason. You should utilize this control of the physical direction of other individuals in an articulate way. It must be accompanied by a series of steps that incorporate different types of agreements. It will not work just to come into a room, adopt a physical position, and expect every other in the room to embrace your same position as well. To begin with, build understanding by embracing their positions, managing their concerns, and most importantly, expanding your receptiveness to them and their receptiveness to you. Do this work cautiously as you discuss the critical issues of the circumstance. What you are doing is adjusting your 2 discussions and using them to convince others in the room. It takes a lot of practice to do this with nuance and workability. However, once you get the hang of it, you will see that your ability to convince others will increase immensely. The story of power in a room is written in terms of space and height. Scan to see who is alpha in the group. Most likely, he or she would be the greatest or most important person in the room. That is why kings and queens have had thrones since they started ruling others. I did a test asking the CEOs, whom I worked with, to confirm what we thought it was the case. We called a conference with the CEO in the center at a conference room table. CEOs usually take the center of the room to demonstrate their power anyway, the middle point, and sometimes even the head. Next, I asked the CEO to sit in her chair, but after a while she started to progressively sink into the chair by sliding very, very gradually forward. Yes, gradually to the conscious yet invisible mind. The result was amazing. Those in the audience who were deliberately trying to articulate their behavior to their boss conduct started to also sink down. The CEOs in the room told me they could hardly suppress their laughter when hearing that everybody at the conference table was gradually sliding towards the floor. Powerful individuals also take up so much space, splaying out their legs or arms, or using more space in the room. That is why influential people get larger apartments than others. And that is why tall people are significantly more likely to rise faster in their careers than short people. Powerful people use a series of bolder indicators of their dominance, from upsetting smaller individuals to talking more. We make more or less eye contact depending on their choice. In fact, they control the other person's communication with their eye contact and outside contact. That is why it requires preparation to meet the queen. All this just to show their superiority over the rest of us. Strong people may leave a discussion with this capacity. They control speed, and that way they show their power. I have seen people in a meeting leaning back and putting their hands behind their heads to show their dominance over the rest of the crowd. Arrogant, but successful. The capacity of nonverbal behavior is all about regulating your behavior, as well as others. It may be something expertly tuned to by the subconscious. You will immediately know when you are with somebody who thinks they are very strong, because of all the signs I have mentioned, and you will instinctively notice it. Commitment takes place the moment you close the offer, sign the contract, get the job, and receive the go-ahead instruction. It is a key moment, and it is important you see it so that you do nothing wrong at this pivotal moment. People learn from you when they are serious. They are transparent, submissive at times, always genuine, and generally well-connected. It starts with their eyes. They are wide open, and you are focused. Likewise, the face is open. It is going to be very close to yours more than anything. It is all about completing the sale to close the distance. That is why car sales representatives regularly shake your hand. Their torso, if not engaged, is accessible and nearer to you. From the arms and hands, feet and legs, there is no oppositional chatter. If appropriate in the situations, the person or persons may well mimic you. The act of communication is often indicated by a change of nonverbal communication, which suggests a decision has been made. Search for it yes or no. Push your subconscious mind in a higher gear at that level. It is important to ask yourself if the person is indeed committed. You can easily know this when you see all of the positive effects I have mentioned, or the opposite. With time, you are going to feel relaxed. Commitment is a logical statement, and we like to achieve it because we are social creatures. Commitment is a kind of link that makes people feel good. When you function from your subconscious mind, you can recognize when you see it. When there is no such thing, people have expressed their frustration with all kinds of anger, discordant body language, and efforts to quit. A few cultural norms spread these weird moments with an abundance of understanding, positive nonverbal communication, and shallow endeavors at duty. At the point when Westerners initially work from Asia, for instance, they frequently wind up misunderstanding the Asian act of kindness and want to conceal it as a hint of wanting to commit. This is one occurrence when your consciousness can fail you. The examination showed that the fundamental nonverbal communication is at first the equivalent around the globe. However, it can rapidly be secured minutes later with socially decided nonverbal communication. Distinctions, however, it may be difficult to spot without a lot of training. This is not the place for a thorough review of different cultures, yet there are various important references about this. It is ideal to take societies individually when you are going to visit another nation, as opposed to attempting to learn them at the same time. That because the nonverbal communication we show comes from our childhood, and it is difficult to change it when it's not natural. The very first way to verify other people's motives is the most important one: their level of transparency. It is the most important since interaction will work fine if people are honest with each another. Nothing good can happen if they are not. You should be prepared to test more individuals along the lines quite easily in an almost automated way with just a little training. However, don't ask for an immediate reading, what people these days call thin slicing. It actually takes a little time to measure the performance of conduct of each new individual you meet. The idea is not to be able to do this immediately, but to be able within a few minutes to size up somebody with high efficiency in terms of whether this person is open to you or not. Look at the forehead, see how eyebrows are moved, how regularly, and how much do they move. Generally, individuals move their eyebrows when they are talking to others, searching for a reaction, asking something, taking you in, etc. So, the sum and separation of these movements are markers of a general degree of receptiveness, and on a particular occasion, when the eyebrows are up, being open to your reaction. Once more, the development might be because of an inquiry that the individual has posed to you, yet it's regarded as being open. Also, take a look at the eyes. Are they half or wide open? You have to set up a pattern of how the individual behaves in ordinary circumstances. Doing this will give you an idea of whether or not the case is of transparency or not. People wide open their eyes when they are interested on a person or a thing and close them when they are not, or when they are suspicious or careful about occasions, individuals, or activities. Since eyes move in a dynamic way, other reasons for their movement must be ruled out. Is there a brilliant light on the individual's face? That may cause the squinting. It may not be the case if person has recently been offered a trade-in car at a very low price. If you can, take a close look at the pupils. How open or close would you say they are? Wide eyes mean interest, fascination, and excitement. The inverse shows the opposite. Also, the general degree of lighting in the room influences the size of the pupils, so you have to build up a standard ability to note the difference. Flaring nostrils are mentioned in romance books and novels when talking about steeds. By the by, there might be truth when associating sexual appreciation with the nose, especially if pheromones are being researched on and the fascination ends up being valid. No doubt a wrinkled nose can show disgust, or in any cause, nausea at an awful stench. Outrageous facial movements like these are hard to miss and are effectively brought to the conscious mind. It is the subtler ones that should concern you more. When somebody arrives wrinkling their nose, they have presumably already revealed to you how they feel or are going to do so. The mouth could fit different gestures, such as a grin, scowl, shock, dread, etc. In basic terms, search for a genuine smile. That is generally an indication of endorsement from others, so individuals who grin are bound to be available to you more than impartial individuals. Individuals can have a smile because of different reasons. Note that it is essential to have the wisdom to recognize a firm, troubled, or false smile from a casual, regular one that is inviting and open. As far as the torso, proximity and manner sign degrees of transparency. On a very basic level, the closer and all the more direct location of the other person's torso toward you, the more open that individual is, and the more distance they keep from you, the more closed they are. What do hand gestures tell us about transparency? They are not the undeniable ones like the harmony signal or the center finger. Those are known as symbols. No, the ones we all make when we talk. The unimportant backup to speech, as when we wave our hands to think about a word or to underline a point. These motions constantly signal purpose. When individuals reach toward us with open motions, for instance, they are typically flagging transparency. Just occasionally, it could be something different, similar to one-side snare to the jaw. A grasp, definitive open signal, is a blend of open hand motions and open torso. Receptiveness can also be shown by the hands themselves. What is going on with them? Are they gripped or both hands are apprehensively manipulated? Is it uneasy or it is trying to hide it into a pocket? Hands talk a perpetual and captivating language. They are glorious little measurements to the condition of the spirit inside and of its purposes. If you watch other individuals' hands, you will find out the condition of their nerves, preventiveness, certainty, indignation, satisfaction, distress, advantage, or fatigue, and their transparency or lack of it. Numerous books on nonverbal communication imply to give explicit implications of explicit motions. This, however, can be tricky. Each signal can have a large number of implications. We fold our arms, to pick a basic model, because we are cautious, with doubts, or we are worn out, cold, or we need to cover a growing midsection. However, if you are searching for the response to a particular inquiry, at that point, you can use your ability. Ask yourself, is this individual open or closed toward me? Then start searching for the pieces of information that you have to make an assurance. The ideal approach to do this is to start by first assuming the intuitive personality diagnosis when starting the conversation. Think at the start of the discussion, open or closed personality? What is more, wait until your instincts on the subject are clear. When you have a more concrete feeling, you can begin deliberately looking for pieces of information to affirm or invalidate your initial reading. Assume you are in a job interview and you want to know your chances of success. The main question to consider is whether you are still running or not. So to speak, is this a real interview or is it now just a courtesy meeting? So start the meeting asking yourself, is this individual open or closed for me? If the answer is the interviewer is closed, at that point you can be reasonably sure that another person has already been chosen. If the interviewer appears to be open, you can activate your vitality and your appeal. You might need to be watchful for an adjustment in the reading. Consider the possibility that the questioner has been open for you, maybe the initial 45 minutes of the meeting, and then all of a sudden, you start to see closing signals. It may be an ideal opportunity to change strategies or to cut the meeting off. Has the questioner decided in the negative, or they are just signaling time is up? You might need to ask a few questions, so anyone can hear and understand, to see. For example, what's the next stage? When will you be closer to making a decision? Is their personality open or close when you ask these questions? If the response is given in a closed manner, you most likely will not land the position. If the nonverbal communication by then is open, you are still in the running. A bolder question could be, how I compare to the other candidates. Get ready for both an answer you like and for one you may dislike. Since adults can become able to control their face and body gestures, it merits taking a look at the legs and feet for a counter information. Somebody may give you a pleasant welcome with their face, yet their legs and feet, and the middle as well, may be telling a different story. Legs may be crossed away from you, signaling a close direction. The middle might be contorted away, or the other individual may be widening the separation, even marginally, from you. Understanding other people may be a hard thing to do, but once you do it, you will have conquered your way into their life, hence able to influence them in various ways. In this book, we focus on the positive manipulation that will work for your benefit. As we start this chapter, let us look at some of the ways that can help you understand other people's body language. The next time you are around your friends, in a work meeting, or with kids, just look for the following and understand what they mean. Legs and arms crossed are obstructions that indicate that the other individual is not receptive to what you are saying. You find that, even if they tend to engage in the good conversation and smile, most of the time the truth is revealed through body language. Authors who were doing negotiations for their new book on reading body language studied a case. They held many meetings and later revealed that among all the meetings, not one resulted in an agreement, whenever one of the parties crossed their legs and feet when negotiating. Mentally, the legs and arms crossed means that an individual is being mentally, emotionally, or physically stopped from what is before them. It is not deliberate, so it is very surprising. Have any of you ever met somebody and found that they do the same as you when you cross or uncross your legs and feet? Or maybe when you are thinking they lean their heads the very same position as yours. That is actually a good indication. If we experience a bond with another person, mirroring body language comes in unintentionally. It is an indication that the discussion is moving well enough and that your message is being received by that group. Such information can be particularly helpful when bargaining, as it tells you what the other party feels about the contract. Have you ever seen someone come into a room and you immediately knew that they are in control? This influence is primarily shown in the language of the body and often involves an upright stance, movements with palms facing forward, and generally open and expressive gestures. The brain is programmed to balance energy with the number of people taking up space. It is a position of authority to stand straight with your shoulders back. It seems to maximize the amount of storage you fill. On the other hand, slouching is the product of the collapse of your shape. It seems to take up less space and less energy for activities. Maintaining good posture commands respect and fosters commitment, regardless of being or not in a leadership position. The mouth can deceive when it applies to laugh. Eyes, however, can never lie. Genuine smiles touch the ears and wrinkle the skin in front of them to build crow's feet. Sometimes people smile to hide what they feel or think, so watch for wrinkles at the outer corner of their eyes next time you want to know if somebody's smile is real. If they are not there, something covers the smile. Most of us most likely grew up hearing, "Look at me without blinking when you are talking to me." Our folks worked under the belief that it was hard to keep eye contact with someone when you are trying to deceive them, and at some point they were right. In any case, it is such a basic knowledge that people may often keep eye-to-eye contact just to hide they are lying. The problem is also many of them overcompensate and hold eye-to-eye contact until it feels awkward. All things being equal, Americans hold eye-to-eye contact for 7 to 10 seconds, but longer when we are tuning in than when we are just talking. In case you are talking to somebody whose gaze is making you squirm, particularly when they're extremely still and not blinking, something is going on, and they may be lying to you. The 3 fundamental feelings that cause raised eyebrows are shock, stress, and trepidation. Pay attention when you are having a casual discussion with somebody. It may be difficult to do. Would I say it isn't? If someone talking to you has raised eyebrows, but the discussion isn't something that may cause shock, stress, or dread, then there is something different going on. When you are telling something to somebody and they keep nodding too much, it may mean they are stressed about what you think of them, or they think you question their capacity to agree to your guidelines. A clenched jaw, a tight neck, or wrinkled temples are signs of stress. No matter what the person is saying, they show significant inconveniences. The discussion may be about something making this person nervous, or maybe their mind is somewhere else, and they are rather concentrating on what's wrong with them. The key is to look for this disagreement between what the person says and what his tense nonverbal communication is letting you know. I'm fine. Body language analysis. From our external appearance to our body movements, things we don't say will in any case transmit volumes of information. It has been immediate that visual correspondence may be 60% to 65% of all correspondences. It is imperative to understand the visual correspondence, but it is also essential to think about other indications such as the environment. In some cases, the group should be investigated if there is no practical experience in an activity. Nonverbal communication is the implicit segment of correspondence. Our signals, external appearances, and posture, for instance. When we are ready to read these signs, we can use them to further our potential benefit, for instance. It will encourage you to know the full message of what someone is referring to, and to strengthen our awareness or people's responses to what we say and do. We can also use it to direct our visual correspondence, so we will in general appear to be very positive, sharing, and congenial. Being able to communicate well is extremely important when wanting to succeed in the personal and professional world. But it is not just the words you say that tell the story. It is your body language that does it. Your gestures, posture, eye contact, facial expressions, and tone of voice are your best communication tools. These have the ability to confuse, undermine, offend, build trust, attract others, or put someone at ease. There are many times when what someone says and what their body language says is totally different. Nonverbal communication could do 5 things. Substitute. It could be used in place of a verbal message. Accent. It could underline or accent your verbal message. Complement. It could complement or add to what you are saying verbally. Repeat. It could strengthen and repeat your verbal message. Contradict. It could go against what you are trying to say verbally and make your listener think that you are lying. The following are important hints to enable you to figure out how to read nonverbal communication and better understanding of the people you connect with. When human activity is towards someone, concentrate on who the person in question looks or appears. Failure to make direct eye-to-eye contact may demonstrate boredom, impartiality, or may be misleading, especially if somebody is out of your vision. If the individual is before you, on the contrary, it may show anxiety or agreement. Additionally, check for the pupils to check if someone is reacting positively toward you. Pupils may dilate with mental exertion. In this manner, if someone is focused on someone or a thing they like, their pupils may dilate. Pupils may be hard to look at, but under the right conditions, you should be prepared to spot them. An individual's squinting rate can even say a lot about what's going on inside. The squinting rate will increase once people are thinking too much or are pushed. Now and again, increased blinking rate shows lying, and looking closely may guide you. Also, if for instance someone often looks at the door, this may show they need to leave. Looking at somebody may show the need to talk to that person. If it includes eye contact, looking up and to the right, it may indicate the person is lying while looking up, and to one side may show the individual is telling the truth. The explanation may be that people search, and to the right their creative mind makes up a story, and looking up and to one side means they are recalling a genuine memory. Even if people are certainly careful about their outward appearance, you will, however, have seen crucial nonverbal signals if you focus. Pay explicit attention to the mouth once you try to disentangle nonverbal behavior. The correspondence of a smile with a visual expression is a good sign. Smiling is a critical nonverbal cue to watch. There are several types of smiles, together with genuine smiles and affected smiles. A genuine smile covers the whole face, while a fake smile only uses the mouth. A genuine smile suggests that the individual is optimistic and feels good about the people around them. Covering the mouth or touching your lips with hands or fingers while talking is an additional indicator of a lie. Concentrate on letting someone stand or sit by you to check if they read you positively. Standing or sitting near someone is perhaps one in all the best pointers of affinity. On the contrary, if someone backs up or moves away from you once you move in closer, this may be a proof that you may not be that close. Reflecting means emulating the visual correspondence of the other individual. Once you face someone, check if the individual mirrors your conduct. For instance, if you are sitting at a table with someone and you lay an elbow on the table, wait up to 10 seconds to see if that person does likewise. Another common reflecting motion includes taking a taste of a beverage at a comparable time. If someone imitates your visual correspondence, this can be a reasonable sign that the person is trying to have an affinity with you. Try to move your body and see if the other individual changes similarly. How fast persons move their head when talking to you shows their understanding, or lack of. Slow hanging shows they are engrossed by what you are saying and they would like you to keep talking. Fast hanging shows they have understood enough and require you end talking or give them a chance to respond. Tilting sideways while you talk will be a proof of enthusiasm for the discourse. Tilting back may be a proof of doubt or vulnerability. A piece of the body that more often than not releases fundamental nonverbal prompts is the feet. The reason is that individuals send nonverbal messages with their feet, but they focus more on their outward appearances and higher body, not paying attention to what is revealed by their feet. Like feet, hands give many nonverbal cues. These can be critical tips. Check if the person has hands in the pockets once standing. Look for explicit hand signals, as when the person you are talking to put their hands in their pockets or hands on their head. This may show something from apprehension to trickiness. Hand motions can say a lot. Signaling with their hands, individual can say a lot. This nonverbal cues should be looked at meetings. Placing an elbow on the table will show the individual is tuning in and attentive. When the person has something between you and them, may mean this is a boundary that is intended to block the other person. For instance, if two people are talking and one holds a stack of paper in front of the other person, it may be worth to look at this as a check of nonverbal correspondence. Arms are the doors to the body, and in this way to yourself. If an individual folds their arms while talking to you, it may be considered as a guarded, blocking signal. Crossed arms can even demonstrate nervousness, weakness, or a closed personality. If crossed arms come with a genuine grin and a generally speaking loosened up stance, it may show all is guaranteed, loosened up. When someone puts their hands on their hips, they are looking for strength, and this is used by men more than by women. Arms share a lot of information. Hands share a lot more, but legs give us the exclamation point and can tell us exactly what someone is thinking. Legs could tell you if a person is open and comfortable. They could also show dominance or where they want to go. When a person is standing, they will only be able to touch their bottom or thighs. This can be done seductively, or they could slap their legs as if they are saying, "Let's go." It might also indicate irritation. This is when you have to pay attention to the context of the conversation. This is very important. Look at the direction of a person's feet to see where their attention is. Their feet will always point toward what is on their mind or what they are concentrating on. Everyone has a lead foot, and it also depends on their dominant hand. If you are interested in what a person is saying, your lead foot will be pointing toward them. But if you want to ignore them, you will notice your foot pointing toward an exit or to where you want to go. If a person is sitting during the conversation, look where their feet are pointing to see what they are truly interested in. People who want to look bigger will usually be seated with their legs splayed open and leaning back. They might even spread their arms out and lock them behind their head. This is normally used by people who feel dominant, superior, or confident. This is usually something that women do more than men. Anyone who starts to feel shy or uneasy may sometimes entangle their legs, crossing them over and over, trying to block out bad emotions and to make them look smaller. There is another shy leg twirl roll people will do when they are standing. This is crossing one leg over the other and hooking that foot behind the knee as if trying to scratch an itch. Upper body language can show signs of defensiveness since the arms could easily be used as a shield. Upper body language could involve the chest. Let's look at some upper body language. In particular, each of us would like to easily determine deception at any level, such as personal, social, and organizational, but it is not that easy. Some professions that depend entirely on determining the truth in personal and social contexts, such as legal agencies, health agencies, and media agencies, invest heavily in determining the truth value of their productions, but they often fail despite having immense resources. There is only one reliable way to determine lying and deception, and that is establishing a baseline for the target individual and comparing against this baseline, as well as doing the adequate prior investigation before confronting the person. Unfortunately, creating a baseline for each and conducting relevant background study is not always guaranteed due to the time and resources limitations, and this implies that a quick analysis of body language and verbal communication can help determine the likelihood of a truth or a lie. If a person is lying, then he or she wants to cover as much ground as possible, and this includes answering questions that were not asked. By answering such questions, the individual is prompting the speaker to a particular direction and does not want to be caught off guard. Answering questions that are not asked may also give the individual lying an opportunity to deny the speaker adequate time to analyze the answers given, by continuously bombarding the interrogator with new information and ideas. Lastly, answering questions that were not asked also helps the layperson to appear well prepared and knowledgeable in what is being asked. Unsurprisingly, Most liars will answer a question with another question to shift the burden of thinking and answering what they have been questioned. Most politicians use this tactic when being interviewed, and it is intended to buy them enough time to recall information about the main question. For most liars, not answering is like claiming that they have no memory of what is being asked or what happened. The other purpose of answering a question with another question is to irritate the interrogator and derail his or her composure. Answering a question with a question is a defensive tactic indicating attempts to hide something. As mentioned, most liars want to make sure each area is covered to eliminate any doubts, because leaving room for doubt may expose them. For this reason, most liars tend to self-correct to ensure the information they provide is irrefutable. In most cases, liars will repeat the correction to ensure that the interrogator and the audience also capture the self-correction. As expected, the liar will blame the need to self-correct on a slip of the tongue or the fast nature of the interview. Another reason for a liar's self-correction is that the individual has a premeditated script and outcome and keeps forcing everything to line up with the premeditated image. As expected, most liars need a safe escape button when cornered, and feigning memory loss is a favorite excuse for most liars. When a liar is cornered, then he or she will cite memory loss and later on institute self-correction to attain the preformed script. Try watching interviews with politicians to appreciate how they fake memory loss to escape explaining something and pretend to have recalled the information when there is an opportunity to sound believable. People that lie will give an account of what they did not do to avoid being held accountable. If a liar insisted on what they did, then they could be held accountable, and this is not something that a liar wants. However, if a liar concentrates on what they should have done, they have a large degree of freedom to give any answer and avoid scrutiny. Again, try watching a recorded or filed interview with any politician to appreciate how this technique is employed. As expected, most liars are insecure and are uncertain that they sound convincing. For this reason, they over-justify everything because they feel that no one will believe them, even when some people have fallen for the lies. When assessing a potential liar, look for signs of unnecessary justification, and again, politicians will provide a good case study of over-justification. Since a liar is faking everything, he or she will avoid mentioning feelings that were associated with what they are reporting. Mentioning emotions may force them to show them. For instance, if you were talking about an exciting event that you witnessed, then your facial expressions and voice would manifest positive emotions, and this is not something liars want because they are not sure of the consistency of their verbal communication and body language. Finally, liars focus more on what is being asked, because they only want to accept a question that they are certain of responding to. Liars focus more on what the question is and what the questioner wants to help them generate convincing information. The other role of wanting questions repeated is to help the liar find an answer by making one up one when there is none. The hand gestures are among the best indicators of positive and negative emotions, and are difficult to fake in a consistent manner. If one is angry but is pretending to be calm, he or she will throw gestures randomly. Most liars get irritated when taken to the task of what they just said, and are likely to throw random gestures in the air even as they try to sound calm. People that normally do not speak fast will suddenly speak fast when they are lying. Speaking fast helps the person denies the audience adequate time to listen and to analyze the information. Speaking fast also allows the liar to exhaust all of the rehearsed information, as any interjection will throw the liar off balance. Speaking fast also indicates that the person is uncomfortable with the audience or with the message and wants to finish fast and end the experience. People sweat, and it is normal. However, more than normal levels of sweating, even when the weather is fine, may indicate that one is panicking and feeling cornered. All these may indicate a sign of a liar. Most liars shun eye contact or give a sustained stare to intimidate the target person. Shunning eye contact indicates that the person feels awkward or embarrassed about what he or she is presenting to the audience. If one paces up and down more than necessary, then the person is likely lying. All these indicate feeling uncomfortable with the message and with the audience. Faking body language. Now, let us consider some of the practical ways to fake your body language properly, so that you appear confident and interested in someone, or make others comfortable around you, even when you are not in the least any of these things. It is easy for anyone to tell you, show interest even when you are not interested. The problem with this advice is that the average person, who doesn't know how to fake their body language, is likely to become robotic in doing this. First of all, you need to understand that interest has a lot to do with the human attention span. And the normal human attention span doesn't last for long, at least not without some form of disinterest at some point, or a distraction. So, when you are faking interest in someone or something, here's how to do it. You have to look like you are interested, but don't overdo it. Human beings don't have a 100% attention span to anything for a long time. So, when you show interest, or fake interest in other people, be sure to keep the show up for only about 70% of the time. Trying to fake interest in someone for longer periods will expose you as fake.
No one likes it when they are being taken for a ride. Well, that is what it feels like when you want to get something from someone by faking interest in them. The poorest way to do this is by showing interest in someone just right before you ask them a favor. For example, someone approaches you and offers you a compliment, and right after that, they go, "I was wondering if you could help me," and they blurt out whatever it is they really were after. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that the earlier compliment was not an honest one, but a means to an end. The end, in this case, the favor they want from you. So, if you want to compliment the person, that's fine, but make sure to give a sincere compliment.
Discuss a variety of issues that will lead up to the favor you intend to ask. While this involves verbal communication, your body language throughout the interaction should show that you have a genuine interest in the issues or topics you talk about. Closely linked to faking interest in people is learning how to make people comfortable being around you. If you can fake this successfully, you will be able to build a strong rapport with other people in a relatively short amount of time. Interestingly, while you may feel it is fake and unreal at the initial stages of using these techniques, with time you will become so good at it that it no longer feels like faking. This is when you have moved from faking it to making it. The chameleon effect is simply mirroring the other person's body language and speech pattern. Tuning yourself to reflect the other person back to themselves is a quick way to make them feel really comfortable around you and even like you in the process. When you mirror or mimic their sitting posture, tone of voice, gestures, body angle, expressions, and so on, you send an unconscious message to the other person that tells them you are like them in many ways. This makes them relax or let their guard down around you. This technique may sound easy to use, but in real-life applications, it can be the worst giveaway that you are simply faking if you don't know how to use it. It goes without saying that being obvious about mirroring or copying the other person's body movement or speech pattern defeats the purpose of the technique. What you want to do is to make these movements flow naturally with what you are saying. Keep in mind that you are not a robot, and you definitely don't want the other person to catch on to what you are doing. So be mindful of how you shift your posture in response to theirs, how you tilt your head in response to theirs, and how you use your gestures in response to theirs. As with all things, moderation is important here. You must not copy every single move the other person makes throughout your interaction. You cannot fake listening to someone when half of the time your attention is clearly shifting from them to other things, like your phone, computer, or other things happening around you. Conversely, you will overdo effective listening if you keep your attention riveted on the other person the entire time. What you should aim at is to show them that you are listening without appearing to be trying too hard. Nodding is a sign that you are following what they are saying, and it leads and encourages the other person to be more forthcoming. However, excessive nodding is a clear sign that you are not listening, but simply want to appear that you are. It can also be a sign that you are trying to be a yes man or a yes woman, agreeing blindly to whatever it is they are saying without thinking about it. This is usually a mistake that subordinates make with their bosses or employers. The other person will get a clear signal that you are not genuine in your agreement. This is one powerful relaxation trick salespeople use. When you use a person's name in a conversation, you are sending a powerful unconscious message to them to relax and trust you more. Even in writing, email, text messages, and so on, mentioning the other person's name helps to build rapport with them.
As an example, instead of saying, "I'd like you to consider the benefits of this proposal," you can create a stronger bond with the other person if you use their name like this. "Jane, I want you to consider how this proposal will benefit you." It doesn't matter if the other person is a complete stranger. Using their name shows them you were so interested in them, right from the very first time they introduced themselves, that you could remember their name.
A smile seems to appear simple. However, it is one of the most difficult to fake. The reason for this is simple. The muscles that move in your face during a genuine smile are controlled by impulses sent from the brain. You simply cannot fake those impulses. For this reason, I will strongly suggest that if you must fake a smile, do it from a distance so that the other person will not be able to clearly read your eyes, if they know how to detect a fake smile. However, if you are in a close range and you must fake a smile, don't let the smile linger on your face. A brief smile will do the trick. Holding a fake smile on your face is a dead giveaway that you are not the real deal. When you are in contact with someone and you want to relax a bit, flash a quick smile, not necessarily showing your teeth because that will make you look very awkward, especially if it is a fake smile. To add more effect, you can raise your eyebrows slightly to cover for the fake smile. There are several ways you can fake self-confidence using your body language. The thing with faking self-confidence is that the effect is not only felt on the people you are trying to manipulate or persuade. You eventually feel it too because, as I have earlier mentioned, your brain may assume that you are actually feeling that way and will send a rush of hormones to increase your self-confidence and decrease your stress level. So here are some quick body language tips to use to fake self-confidence. Nervous and anxious people usually speak with high pitches and at a quicker pace, whether they are males or females. On the other hand, when you speak with a low tone and a slower pace, not a dull monotone voice, it conveys a sense of authority or power. Here is a simple trick you can use to lower the tone of your voice. Before you speak, tighten your lips together and make a humming sound for about 10 seconds. This will return your voice tone to its optimal pitch. Also, when you finish your sentences, remember to make your voice drop at the end. This will make your voice sound more authoritative. When your voice goes high as you finish your sentences, it conveys a question rather than a statement or an order. It will sound like you are seeking approval from the other person or people listening to you. When you need a quick boost of self-confidence, stand upright with your legs spread apart and your hands on your hips. Lift your head like someone who is truly confident and stay in that position for about 2 to 3 minutes. This is the power pose. It has the effect of increasing your self-confidence and making you calmer, especially when you are going into a meeting that makes you nervous. When you sit, place your feet firmly on the floor and spread your arms on the table in front of you. You can even hang one hand behind the chair you are sitting on. This posture says you are in charge of your space. And even if inwardly you are not too sure of yourself, it doesn't show when you carry yourself in this manner. It is an excellent move to hide your inner fears. How beautiful it would be if you could just recognize that someone was interested in you. It will make it easier, and you would know you had your facts right before going ahead to make a move. It is possible with the power of body language. However, if you are clueless about what body language means, you will miss even the clearest and surest signs of attraction. Think about it. It is better and quite assuring to approach someone who is giving you unconscious attraction signals rather than going to anyone at random. You risk embarrassing yourself and making a fool of yourself with this. One thing about body language is that it is hard to fake, except for people who know how to. Hence, if someone likes you and they are embarrassed to let you know, the signals from their body will be clear. It is left to you to pick up on those signals and make your move. If you are interested in someone, there is a probability you have had eyes on them for any such mutual attraction. You do need to know the signs to look for, so that you won't miss out on a potential romantic relationship. Many times, the body subconsciously exhibits some characters that show you are attracted to another person. Knowing these signs can help gear up your dating game and sharpen your discerning skills to know whether someone is genuinely interested in you or not. Even if you are already in a relationship, you can ascertain the level of your current relationship to know whether your love is reciprocated or not. Basically, the body signs of attraction pass across some messages, such as, "I am harmless," "You can talk to me," "I come in peace," etc. This might not sound very romantic, but it is an essential part of the mating experience. In the same way, if your body language reveals unavailability, people and potential romantic partners will pick up on the signs and stay away. Body language works in a unique and mysterious way. At times, all body cues of attraction occur without real effort, except when the person is faking it. The body responds when you find someone attractive. A signal is received from the brain and is interpreted via body language. This is why the pupils dilate when you find someone you are attracted to. You want to have more of that person. I am pretty sure many people cannot control this. Also, watch out if your heart is racing. There is a big chance your heartbeat will rise if you are with someone you like. In understanding the body language of attraction, we will explain two dominant body languages of attraction: blushing and mirroring. This chapter will shed light on a classic body language that reveals attraction before going into specific obvious signs that show the attraction of either sex. If you like something, there is a big chance it will take much of your attention, the same with whatever catches your interest. As a result, anyone interested in you will likely make more eye contact or even steal glances at you. As much as possible, you will be in the person's line of sight. When you make eye contact, their eyes will sparkle and widen, and their pupils will dilate. When talking to this person, watch the eyebrows as well. It will be raised often. Still, on the face, they will often smile even without a cause. It will be a genuine smile with wrinkles at the corners of the eyes, and their teeth will be slightly exposed. If someone is interested in you, they will tilt their head slightly while talking to you. It is common to women, and it indicates general attraction, not necessarily sexual interest. However, if accompanied by other gestures, it could signify attraction. Women, especially, will use the head toss tactic, i.e., a quick shake of the head to the side and getting it back to the original position. They play with their hair in the process in a bid to expose the vulnerable part of the body, the neck. In the presence of someone we are attracted to, we try our best to look good. Thus, there is a big chance someone might be interested in the person if they always give out grooming gestures in your presence. It could range from adjusting the belt, the tie, or other clothing materials. A lady will adjust their hair, apply some makeup, etc., anything to help make them look good. A person standing far away from you will show clear signs of attraction via their body language. The body naturally tends to lean toward what attracts it or what it wants to engage in. A person far from you but interested in you will orient their body towards you. Their position will be such that their shoulders are parallel to yours. Turning the body towards you might be uncomfortable and might spell out desperation, especially when you are close. The person, in this case, might not turn their body towards you, but could turn their feet. Feet pointing towards someone could indicate an interest in that person. At times, the person might be occupied with something else while one foot is turned towards their object of attraction. It is a sign they want to get out of what is keeping them to join you. There is an extent to which you allow people to move close to you when interacting. This extent, however, depends on the level of relationship that exists between the parties involved. The more familiar, comfortable, and attracted we are with someone, the easier it gets for us to allow such a person to come closer. With the above in mind, if you find someone allowing you in their personal space without much resistance, there is a big chance they like you. Having examined the common signs of attraction, we will move to specific signs of male and female attraction. We start with the female species. Although it is quite easy for women to pick up on signs of attraction from a man, it is not always so for a man. This is because the signs that a woman gives forth are subtle, and you must be observant and smart as a man to pick them up. You, however, must also get your facts right, as subtle attraction signs from a woman might be an indication of being polite. We have presented small telltale signs that a lady is into you in many ways. We hope this gives you a head start so that you do not miss out on any potential date again. Exchanging glances are a positive sign that she is attracted to you. You might catch her stealing glances at you. When you caught her and she turned away in embarrassment, she is definitely attracted. If eye contact is direct and spans for 10 seconds or more, it is a good sign. A woman interested in a man will make long and seductive eye contact with you. Watch out for beaming looks as well, and it reveals that she obviously likes what she is seeing. The pupils will also often be dilated if they are attracted to you. If you catch her glancing at you from a distance and she winks, it is a sure sign she's flirting with you and wants you to know. There are many things that the body language of a female can reveal. A woman who is sitting and facing you with the legs crossed is attracted to you. She might be playing with something, like her jewelry or hair, or even touching her neck. Watch out for fidgeting with the hands as well, or any sign of biting her fingers. She could be constantly crossing and uncrossing her legs. It could, however, be either positive or negative nervousness. But whatever the case, her attraction to you is unconsciously controlling her. A woman attracted to you will display confidence in relating and talking to you. Her pose, stance, and all will reflect it. Watch the way she stands. If the feet are wide apart, she's attracted to you. A woman not attracted to you, on the other hand, will close off her body. Besides this, there will be a distance between the two of you. Laughing, giggling while making eye contact, and touching are sure signs that the woman is attracted to you. One thing that a woman does to get your interest is to lighten the mood. She will make an effort to make you happy, relaxed, and receptive as she shows her interest in you. Also, watch out for the way she receives your jokes. If you are not a funny person and you see her laughing at your bad jokes, it is a good sign that she is interested in you. You have to cash in on this. A woman will often switch to a high vocal tone in the presence of someone who catches her interest. The voice gets higher in the acoustical tone and not the volume, in the presence of someone they like. These are tactics to exhibit her femininity, which she believes is attractive to her object of affection. If you already know her normal pitch and the voice is higher than that, it is a sure sign. Pulling the hair back and revealing some bare skin, especially the one on the neck, is a sign of attraction. This gesture might be interpreted as showing you her vulnerability as she trusts you. Watch when she covers her mouth as well. It could be when laughing or when she is not talking. While these hand gestures might be out of nervousness, they also indicate attraction. The body is naturally drawn to what attracts it. As a result, facing you is a good sign. While it might just be that she is giving you attention while having a conversation, watch out for other signs already discussed. If you are in a group setting, for instance with other people, watch if she is facing you. If she is, coupled with other signs discussed above, then you surely have someone who has a crush on you. Other subtle signs that a lady is interested in a man are as follows: gazing at you while pouting and licking her lips, standing with her hips slightly tossed forward, emphasizing the hips, displaying a delicate part of the body like the wrist, finding a reason to touch you, displaying efforts to make the hips wider and her legs slimmer by crossing the ankle. This will point her knees at you, touching or rubbing her cheeks and looking at you. Be sure to examine the context and make sure you have 2 or more signs of attraction before you make any move. They are mere signs, not a certainty. When a woman is attracted to a person, she will seek eye contact. This eye contact tends to be rather brief, as women are not interested in winning a staring contest. They just want to signal to the object of their interest that they are willing to be engaged. Another telltale sign of attraction in a woman is related to her hair. If you see a woman playing or pulling on her hair when speaking to someone they like, you can be pretty sure that she is indicating a willingness to be engaged. Also, women who are interested in a person will allow for closer physical contact. Anytime a woman keeps people at an arm's length, it is a clear indication that they have no interest in them. By the same token, anytime a woman avoids eye contact and tilts their body away from the person they are interacting with, it is safe to assume they are not interested in being engaged. Women are generally focused on faces. What this means is that when a woman is attracted to someone, they will not only focus on their eyes, but also their mouth. They generally tend to watch the other party's lips when they speak. This is an instinctive reaction based on their desire to find a strong and healthy mate. Consequently, healthy-looking eyes, teeth, lips, and skin are clear indicators that a person is in good physical condition. Women also drop many hints with their arms and hands. A woman who is uninterested will almost always cross her arms and/or legs at some point. If you find that a woman is sitting that way on a date, then the other party has a tough time ahead for him. Conversely, if a woman is actually interested in the other person, she will sit or stand in a very open position, that is, hands at her sides, or folded on a table, and legs uncrossed. Also, leaning forward while listening to the interlocutor is a good indication that they are interested in what the other person has to say. If they make direct eye contact on various occasions, then the combination of clues is virtually a declaration of intent. Some women refrain from eye contact when they are genuinely attracted to someone. They may cross gazes but quickly look away or perhaps look down. In some cultures, this is the norm, as it is a sign of submission. Western cultures don't normally have such customs, though women may still prefer to avoid eye contact in order to prevent themselves from being too obvious. Additionally, women will allow some type of physical contact as a sign of attraction. For instance, they may lightly brush their hand up against another person's, or they may even give the object of their attraction a gentle tap on the shoulder or arm. While this is, by no means, an invitation for further physical contact, it is a sign that a woman is comfortable and ready to take the interaction to a more personal level. This type of light touching can be reciprocated by similar touching. Finally, a woman's voice says a lot about the way she feels. Women tend to speak with a higher pitch when they are in the presence of someone they are attracted to. Also, they may raise the tone of their voice in order to be noticed by the person they are attracted to. In one-on-one interactions, don't be surprised if you see a woman speaking somewhat faster. However, if she begins to slow down, then that might very well be a signal that she has lost interest. Unlike ladies, the signs of flirting and attraction tend to be pretty more apparent in a man, since men tend to be daring and, by societal values, are expected to speak their minds and make the first move. On sighting you, he tries to make adjustments in his appearance. He smooths his hair, adjusts his tie, and buttons his coat. These are signs that he is surely attracted to you. He makes sure he appears presentable and likable before you come into view. He checks for food in his teeth, uses a breath mint, etc. Putting extra care in his appearance, especially if he's the nonchalant type, is a sign he is attracted to you. A man who is really interested in you will show confidence when interacting with you, provided he is not reserved. You will see him flexing or puffing up his muscle during the interaction. In a bid to make the chest look broader, he will stand up straight and tall. If he emphasizes too much on his body parts, he surely wants you to notice his physique. This is common with shy guys. Watch out if he fumbles with his button repeatedly. He might also play with his watch or jacket. He might find it difficult to stay calm and still in your presence. This is a good sign that he is attracted to you. The eyes will give out the clues if he is interested in you. If you catch him stealing glances at you often, he does like you. Be sure to watch out for the dilation of the pupils. It is what happens when someone sees what appeals to him. When you like someone, you do everything in your capacity to get closer to them. You try to get their attention and maintain it for as long as possible. The way he carries himself and communicates with you will be unique if he's interested. He will talk to you on what you love, and the conversation will revolve around making you feel important. This is not surprising, as people love being the center of attention. Hence, if a man strikes this kind of conversation, he might be attracted to you. Men are a lot easier to read, as they tend to be far more overt about their interest in someone. They will generally seek the object of their interest and engage them in some manner. Typically, men will try to engage the other party by displays of strength, wealth, or status. These are signs that they are providers or protectors. In short, men try to position themselves as the best possible mate their object of interest can find. Some general guidelines include direct eye contact, tilting their body towards the person they are attracted to, and seeking constant physical contact. The latter generally tends to make most women uncomfortable, as unsolicited physical contact can get rather awkward quickly. Other not-so-subtle hints that men drop are following the object of their affection around, placing their hands or arms as a sign of possession, and with frequent restlessness. In fact, fidgeting is a clear indication, as it is a sign that a man is nervous in the presence of whom he is attracted to. In addition, some men might go silent, remember the freeze response, and even fail to react in the presence of the object of their attraction. This reaction is partially due to the freeze response, but it is also due to the fact that some men freeze up when they don't know what to do or how to react. This is why you see most dating advice that is oriented to men focus on what to do and what to say in various situations. What this does is that it eliminates a man's reliance on his wits by providing him with a set of tools. These tools are certainly useful, though they may not be universally applicable. One common method used by men is to approach and pull back. This method consists of approaching someone they are attracted to and then pulling away. Then they will engage and withdraw until they are able to make progress, say, go on a first date. The logic beneath this approach is that men tend to come on very strong when they are attracted to someone. As such, this approach allows them to find a balance between displaying their intentions and giving the object of their attraction some space. Your personality type is something you're born with, live with, and carry through every stage of life. Sure, it evolves with time and experience. You might learn to express it differently, but at its core, it stays uniquely yours. Understanding personality types gives you a real advantage. It helps you appreciate who you are, recognize your weaknesses without judgment, and make the most of your strengths. More importantly, it teaches you to value those same qualities in others. When you accept the differences between people, their habits, their reactions, their perspectives, everything changes. You work better with colleagues, connect more deeply with friends, and handle relationships with greater empathy and patience. The more you understand others, the easier it becomes to read them, to see what drives them, what inspires them, and even what holds them back. That insight doesn't just help you understand people, it helps you understand yourself. And here's the key. Learning how to analyze people properly fuels your own personal growth. It builds confidence, sharpens your communication, and helps you express your thoughts and emotions clearly and respectfully. Personality development isn't about changing who you are. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. It's about being confident, approachable, and respected. Someone who listens, learns, and leads with purpose. When you embody traits like curiosity, kindness, punctuality, and adaptability, you don't just stand out, you shine. Because understanding people starts with understanding yourself, and that's where real growth begins.